Hey, what's up, everyone? If you have joined live, thanks so much for joining live. And if you're watching this later, well, thanks for watching it later. I appreciate it either way. I hope all of this is going out into the live stream too, because every time I click go live, I never know, do I start talking right away or do I sit there and stare at the screen awkwardly for a little while? I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm live now at this point. So, yeah, I just had this idea recently. I was talking with some friends and thinking about it myself and realizing I have a ton of photos that I shoot, right? Because I'm shooting constantly. Even before I was doing this full time, I shot a lot. And now that, it's been, I don't know, a year and a half or a little bit more, I don't know, I've lost track of time, of me doing this full time as my career, wildlife photography, mainly birds. I shoot a lot more now, and obviously when I'm out with clients, I'm not really shooting for myself, but I'm still getting shots. So, there's periods of time, especially the last couple months, where I've been out pretty much every day some weeks and just out doing a ton of photography, sometimes in the morning, sometimes all day. So in any case, got a ton of stuff that I just don't have time to share. I'd love to share more collections of photos, but that requires me, curating them, putting them together, writing up kind of a blog post with them. And that's time that I just don't have right now. That's some stuff I can probably do in the winter when things slow down a little bit. But for now, it's just kind of hard to find the time to share all the stuff I want to share. So, that being the case, I love sharing these photos, and I want to get some of them out to see the light of day so they're not just sitting on my computer. I'm sure you're the same way. So I thought it would be a fun idea to do a live show, and that way I could get through a lot of stuff. I'm not going to share every single photo, but I can kind of jump around and go through and share some stuff. So, everybody that is here live right now, I'm going to leave it up to you guys if you want to leave in the comments. So listen, I'm going to be really looking forward to you guys in the comments to give me some feedback, ask to see anything, ask any questions. I'm happy to answer anything. But for now, first question I want to hear from you guys is, do you want me to start? I'm just going to show 2021. Do you want me to start in the beginning of 2021 and work forward up until current? Or would you like me to start with the most recent stuff and kind of maybe work backwards? So anybody live in the comments there? I see I got a few viewers live right now. If you want to just let me know, start in the beginning of the year or start at the end of the year. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting for some answers there, I just want to kind of give an overview of how I set aside all these images. If you've never seen any of my workflow videos before, I have published some of them here on my YouTube channel in the past, but what I do is when I come back from an outing, first step is, this is basically my workflow right over here. And I add the location to it, which I'm not going to be showing you guys because I like to try and keep a lot of these locations kind of private. But then I do the initial culling. So I do one pass through it, get rid of all the junk, everything out of focus, everything that is just not good, not worth keeping. Then once that's done, it moves to the next stage, final culling stage. So that's everything that I want to really narrow down now. So I can look at similar images, kind of narrow them down from there. And then they go to the color correct stage. For me, I get this question asked a lot. What does color correct mean for me in this stage of the game? And what it means is I simply do global color correction. So, I head on over in Lightroom here into develop, and I will just do some basic overall correction. So a crop, exposure adjustments, shadows, highlights, contrast, that sort of thing, any white balance shifting, that sort of stuff. Sometimes I'll throw on, a graduated or a radial filter, that kind of thing. That's about it, right? Real quick, down and dirty, just get the image looking pretty good and then move on. And the reason I do that is, raw files are generally flat to begin with. They usually need adjustment. There's very few images I shoot that need no adjustment at all. And I kind of want to see some of the images. I can't really see the potential of them until I give them kind of that once over color correction here in Lightroom. So I do that for every photo that I keep. So every single photo that's in my Lightroom catalog here, I've at least gone through it and done a basic overall quick color adjustment to it. So that's what the color correct stage is. And then rate, obviously I give it a star rating based on quality. And then keyword, I keyword it minimally with just the species. Sometimes some additional elements will get keyworded on there. All right, let me look at the comments. One person asking to start at Alaska, one asking start at the beginning. It looks like beginning's going to win. Sorry, Susan, you are outvoted. But thanks everybody for the feedback on that. And so listen, like I said, feel free as we're going here, please just ask questions as we're going along. Any comments. If you want to see a specific species, go ahead and holler out, as long as it's something that I photographed, obviously. I'll jump right to that and see what we can do. All right, so I set aside all of 2021, and these are the photos. Oh, sorry, to finish that workflow process, right? Once I'm done going through all of these stages, I then filter everything for 3-star and higher. 2 stars are relegated to photos that just didn't work out, but I want to keep for whatever reason. 1 star is just simply a documentary shot. Like I want to know that I photographed a certain species at a certain place at a certain time kind of thing. That's what I keep for those. So 3 stars and higher is good photo. Obviously 4 stars is really good. 5 are like, oh my gosh, it doesn't happen very often kind of thing. All right, so I filter 3-star and higher, and then I go through all those photos from that particular outing or couple of outings, whatever I'm editing. And then I just real quick gut instinct, set aside anything that's like, that's worth sharing, So just real quick, go through it. And in that moment, and usually this is pretty fresh after I've done an outing, so I still have a little bit of emotional connection to these photos. So it tends to mean I put more in there that I'm probably ever going to really share. But I think that's okay because I'm just setting these aside and they go in this to share collection over here. And you can see I have a stupid amount of photos in there, right? Just about 7,000 photos in there. I mean, this is from many, many years. And like I said, many of them are probably of the quality at this point that I probably wouldn't share. But at that time when I took them, I deem them worthy of being able to be shared online somewhere, right? Whether it be my website, social media, print gallery, who knows, anything, right? So these are all my good photos. Then usually, a couple weeks, a month, 2 months, a year later, I'll sit down and it's time for me to schedule out my website, what's going to go on my website. Because like, for example, right now I'm scheduled out until August. I have all the photos that are going to go on my website daily and on social media daily, scheduled every day out until August. So at that point, I go to this to share collection. And then I just sift through and pick out what I'm going to actually share. I kind of sort them so I have somewhat of a timeline that I like things to go, because sometimes I'll do kind of a similar images, and then other times I like to kind of jump around to different seasons and stuff like that. So anyway, I put together a sequence, title them, caption them, and then online they go. So that's the process. That's how I get to this collection of images. And here are all the photos I've set aside to share from 2021. So with all of that being said, let's get to it. So in the beginning of 2021, it's winter. Let's see, when did I actually shoot this? This was, let's see, January 1st. There we go. So New Year's Day, I guess. I was out shooting. Or I'm sorry, I think I just read that mistakenly, didn't I? Was it January 1st or 6th? What did it say? 6th. There we go. Sorry about that. January 6th. So that was the first time in the year I went out and did some photography. So I went down the shore and started doing some really interesting stuff. So, started with some longtails. Sorry about that. Longtails in the surf, and then played with some purple sandpipers once the light got kind of crappy. It was really strong, so silhouette was kind of the only option, and I played with these crashing waves. Incredible where these birds hang out, isn't it? It's really amazing stuff. So just really neat to see the habitat that they hang out with. Then I went to a jetty along the shore and started experimenting with this kind of stuff. And this is something I've been really pushing into a little bit more this year, which is trying to get abstract, trying to get really different. Just for me, pushing myself into different areas of photography, not trying to take the same portrait. And this is the kind of stuff that I've been liking to try. So you got this abstract Dunlin here, just throwing it out of focus on purpose, playing with some really cool bokeh. This is one bird. You can see right here, it's one bird. When I throw it really out of focus, it turns into something like this. So obviously not a lot of control of how the actual final image looks when I do this. So that meant that I was doing a lot of experimentation. So here's where, it's just a little bit out of focus and you see a lot of versions of the bird. Here's where it's a little bit more medium out of focus. Again, medium out of focus. And all these different colors are me playing with different toning of the image. Some are more monotone like this. Some are really golden like that. Some are a little bit more of this like duotone where I tone the shadows and went a little bit warmer with the highlights, so cooler shadows, warmer highlights kind of thing. So I played with a lot of different stuff there and came up with all kinds of weird versions. Did a few of them in focus as well, where it's just a cool sparkly background like that, for example. But yeah, it was pretty fun just trying to get in really close to these birds. On that same outing, it came across this herring gull like feeding on this fish. He was just flopping the thing all around. Pretty gross, but cool behavior to see. And yeah, that was that outing. Next up, looks like I had a kingfisher outing. These are probably just a couple of shots that I took that morning. Probably had a client out and didn't take too many because who knows, maybe the bird didn't stay long. I don't remember. I went to see that kingfisher a lot. So I also had a lot of photos of that bird. This was a fun outing. Went down to the beach to just do some shorebird stuff. Actually did a whole behind the scenes video of this outing. So if you didn't get to see that, you can see me actually taking these photos. You can see what the scenery looks like and everything on the YouTube channel or on the website as well. So that was fun. Random red-tailed hawk that I saw in a field when I was out with a client one evening. That was a cool one. And then this was a fun morning, really calm pond, had some brant, some bufflehead. It was super dusk. Everything was just like this real blue tone. It was real early, but just some really cool stuff with that. Some more kingfisher stuff, had another kingfisher outing, some tundra swans at the same place. Back to the same jetty here. This was a different day, overcast light, played with some savanna sparrows. Love playing with the rocks here, right? Like, so just kind of a more standard shot, but then when you get some foreground in play, you can do some really fun stuff there. Just looking at the comments real quick. Awesome shots. Are these taken at golden hour, the out of focus plovers? Dunlin. Great question. Let me go back to that. No, these were actually taken smack in the middle of the day. This is like the worst light possible. It was probably, I don't know, let's look, right? Let's see. Let's see what time that was taken. It's taken at, 12 noon on a full sun day, like no clouds in the sky, completely sunny. And let me reset this image just so you can see what the original looked like. That's what it looked like straight out of camera. Not much color going on back there. It was pretty monotone. It was just the sparkling water. But because it was all silhouette, I was able to really play with the white balance. So these ones that are really golden, watch, I'll reset this one for you. Thanks for this question, Marcus. That was great. But you'll see this straight out of camera probably looks, oh, you know what? I probably threw the white balance in camera on that one. Let's see. Let me find one I probably didn't do that with. Let's see. This one should be it. There we go. That's what it looked like straight out of camera. But again, because it's a silhouette, you can do whatever you want with the white balance, right? I can go super warm. I can make it look like dusk, right? I can go super cool with it. I can do whatever I want with it because you don't actually see any color on the bird or any objects in the image. So that's one fun thing about silhouettes. Got to see this, anyway, going forward again, got to see this amazing, I think this was a female king eider, if I'm not mistaken. I think she had an injured wing, unfortunately. It looked like it was a little out of place sometimes, but she was getting around pretty good. And she managed to, you can see her wing kind of hanging there. She was able to get up and rest and swim and stuff like that. So, but anyway, cool encounter to see her that close. This is a great example of, this is what it looked like at a camera, edited in Lightroom, and then that's what I do to it in Photoshop. So just kind of give it that extra pop of color. But anyway, cool to see a king eider eye level. That was my first experience with that. A few more things on that jetty, doing some fun stuff with sunset, I don't even know, on that one. I think it was all sunrise stuff. Then I hit the season of the mergansers. This was a spot I had found unexpectedly doing some scouting one day out with a client. And came across this spot, went back a few days later and got some, it was able to get some shots, and just incredible time. There was hundreds of hooded mergansers there, and then I ended up being able to use this spot for some workshops. So just incredible light in the morning. You can see I'll scroll through some of these, trying to shoot some real fun dramatic light. It was coming in hard from the left there, which was cool. Some of these photos I have shared online, just a few of them, so you may have seen some of these. And Yeah, you can. A lot of these I did not share, obviously, because I'm not going to share like the same thing over. But you can see kind of, to me, it's really fun to see the variety you can get in a single outing, just by shooting differently. You know, the different birds, the light changing throughout the morning. Like this is all from the same spot. You know, without me ever moving. So, you know, if I kind of just show the entire collection from that morning, like look at the wild different colors. Oh, that purple was funny. It was like a lawn chair in somebody's backyard or something. But you know, look, nice variety of stuff, fun, different compositions, different lighting. You know, you can shoot it more front lit and see, you know, more of the details of the bird with some golden light, or you let them kind of move into the shadows and then shoot a little bit more kind of side dramatic light. You can still do some dramatic side light, but still get detail on the birds, like with the shoveler here. You know, just a lot of fun, different stuff, you know, or you can get just real dramatic and make it all about just the shape, like this pied-bill grebe, you know, and these are all pretty much shot like this, you know, not a lot of edits done to these. A good number of them are, you know, just a simple Lightroom edit. So, just hopping back to the comments real quick again. Let's see. Thanks, Marcus. He said he really enjoyed the video I did where I showed the edit of the Eider. Oh, cool. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Excellent. Nice. Got a nice number of viewers on here. Thanks. I appreciate you guys on a Saturday afternoon. I figured that would be a tough crowd, just figuring more people would be out shooting. But yeah, thanks for everybody for joining. Did some more jetty stuff, and then the snow hit. So when did I go? I spent some time in Florida this year. Gosh, I don't even remember. I think it was most of February and into March, or maybe a little bit in February and then again in March. Yeah, that's what it was. And that was like March and April is when I spent a big chunk of time down there. In any case, I was hoping to be up here in New Jersey if we did get any snowfalls, because last year I was down in Florida every time we got snow up here, so I missed the snow entirely, and I love photographing birds in snow, mainly because I don't get to do that very often. So the one time it snowed, I made sure I was really glad I had nothing on my schedule, and I was able to just go out and enjoy it. And I don't have a four-wheel drive vehicle, so I can't go anywhere. So I simply walk across the street and into the forest across the street from my house. So not a lot of exotic birds here, but, you know, trying to make the best of what I can get to. So song sparrow, tufted titmouse, cardinals, that sort of stuff. You know, just your typical kind of backyard, local forest birds, right? Nothing too crazy, but having a lot of fun with composition, really trying to do more spacious compositions with these birds, really show off the snow. I got lucky. It was a real heavy wet snow, this first one that happened, and it really stuck to the trees and the branches. So everything was pretty white. I really like the graphic nature of these branches in this one, and I forget if I shared this one or not. Let's see. No, I did not. So this one hasn't been shared out publicly yet. But this is one of those images where I'm like, oh, I really want to share this, but I had other ones I guess I liked better and never got around to sharing this one. So, you know, shooting through some foreground stuff like this, just trying to really isolate the bird, get the bird to stand out, and just doing some fun stuff in the snow, you know, really showing off. It was actually snowing most of the time I was out there. Oh, this one's fun, right? Just finding that one little pocket. I mean, that's like a real tiny pocket that I got for that. But yeah, I never got to share this photo out, you know? So thank you guys for joining me and letting me share this photo with you today. This one I do believe I did share, this cardinal. So and some closer up stuff. It's so funny to me. Like, I think it's so funny how personal taste and preference is so unique to individuals and changes over time. So to me, this is like a real close-up photo, whereas I think a lot of people I talk to might say this is a little bit smaller in frame. But to me, this is more like small in frame, you know? So it's just kind of funny how that works with perspective, you know? Yeah, walked across the street, found a turkey out there, had some fun with that. That was kind of cool. And then, yeah, this was really neat how those chickadees hang like that. Such a fun thing that they do. And I was real happy to get the arching kind of graphical perch there. So that was cool. So yeah, some fun stuff in the snow. I'll kind of sift through these pretty quickly here. If you have any questions about any image, drop that in the comments. Or if you have anything you want me to go back and review or you want to see again, just let me know. I'm happy to hop back. But obviously I got a lot of photos to show, so I'm going to try and go through this quickly. A few more times, I revisited this hooded merganser location a bunch because once I found it, it was winter time and I started taking people there, started taking clients there and workshopping it. So having a lot of fun there. So just getting to, kind of doing the same thing because I was sitting on the shoreline. So wasn't able to do anything too different, but you get different birds rolling in, like this juvenile male with that brilliant eye like that, and just different lighting sometimes. This was very similar lighting. Here I was able to figure out how to shoot through some stuff, make some real wacky foreground and background there. And then snow number 2 happened. Didn't get too much on that. And then back to the hooded mergansers again. Beautiful, beautiful rosy golden light on some of these mornings. I mean, like the color of that light is like, come on, it doesn't get any better than that, does it? Just incredible, incredible stuff. Thanks for the comment on the chickadee, everybody. Everybody likes the upside down chickadee. How could you not? Yeah, some fun splashing action like this. So like these are photos I just never got to share, because as you see, right, I have so many of these hooded mergansers. I mean, look at it here, and then here's another whole set again. And then we'll get to this. All right, I want to talk about this real quick. This was the first outing I got to do with my new underwater housing. And so I haven't shared a lot of info about this. So you guys are getting a sneak peek here about that. I think I may have mentioned it in 1 or 2 captions, or maybe they're upcoming. But I do have an underwater housing, but I'm actually using it very differently in that I'm shooting telephoto with it. So I'm still shooting a telephoto lens, 420 millimeter to be exact. And I'm shooting that in the housing. So the point is not to see underwater because you're never going to see any distance underwater. Using a long telephoto lens underwater is kind of pointless. It just goes pretty much murky and black. Even in clear water, it kind of does that same thing. Well, it doesn't go black, but it goes murky. So the point is to have freedom of movement around water and to be able to get really low perspective. And you can see how low that perspective is here. As you can see, these swans are actually like melting into the water. You can't even see the water line because half my lens is underwater. So that was my first outing with it. It was cold that day. There was ice all over my dry suit. And I learned that day that I can't go out because ice starts freezing on the front of the housing. So I was constantly scraping ice off the front of the housing, and that was a pain. This was a really fun, my first attempt at woodcock in flight wide angle. I'll have a better one that comes up in a little bit. And then this was my second outing with the housing back at that hooded merganser spot. And again, you can see how different this low perspective is, where the birds are almost like melting into the water. Check that out. And so for me, it's another tool, another way to try and get really wacky, unique stuff. And you can see how like firm that, or how kind of precise that water line is, so I was able to do some different stuff with that. It was real tough with the ducks. They never came really close, but definitely trying to get different and weird and wacky with that. All right, before I hit the next set, let me go back to a question here. Lynette asks, do you adjust your white balance for snow or stay in auto? I just stay in snow. I stay in auto the whole time. I shouldn't say never. I very, very rarely adjust my white balance in the field. Just because it's something that's so easily adjustable after the fact. To me, it's one less thing to worry about when I'm actually out shooting. So yeah, I've never really adjusted it in snow. I just usually tweak it when I get back. Let's see. Any other questions? No, just some nice comments. Thank you, Hirisha, for the comments on the mergansers. And yeah, all right, let's keep it going here. I'm probably gonna have to move a little bit quicker here, or else the show's gonna be 4 hours long. All right. This was in my floating hide. That's the word I was looking for. There we go. So in the water again, but not with the housing, just because of where I was, and another side project that hopefully I'll have something I can share with in the somewhat near future. But yeah, just out in the floating hide and playing with some bufflehead at sunset, doing some backlit silhouette, and trying to get some rim light, some dramatic side light, stuff like that. Love trying to get the sun in the frame, but always tough. got some really cool skies on that one. All right, back to the hooded merganser spot. In the water again with the housing. This time things got really weird. This time I learned to start shooting backlight with it, shooting into the sun, and that's when things got really fun. I mean, check that out. Look at the swan. See how it just like legit just melts into the waterline there? I think it's such a cool look. It's so unique. I don't know of any other way of doing this, but one thing I can pass along if you're thinking this might be a fun idea to try, if you really want to hate photography, and what I mean is make it so much more difficult than it is normally to photograph birds and wildlife, then give this a shot, because this was by far one of the most frustrating things I've ever done, and still is, with the housing. So difficult to even see through the viewfinder, let alone focus, compose, really see what's happening. It's just an absolute nightmare. You're missing shots left and right. Like, you have amazing shots in front of you and you're constantly missing them. So, it is not for everyone. I can tell you that right now. I know a lot of people are starting to do more, floating hides. They're making their own, buying them, that sort of thing. And even that is a lot of work. This makes the shooting out of one of those look like a piece of cake, but I am getting some really wild and wacky results, which for me is what's fun, like this kind of shot. Marcus asked, did I have to get the housing custom made? He only recalls seeing them for wide angle lenses. No, it's not custom made, but you are correct. They are only made for wide angle lenses. So it's a matter of getting extensions on the front to be able to fit a telephoto lens. So that was the process there. But yeah, I was able to get some really weird, wacky stuff with this. And like I said, it's fun to me because I have all the standard shots already. But if you're thinking about it to just go use it for, let me get a different perspective kind of thing, I would highly recommend against it, because it's a ton of money, number one. So it's not cheap to get a good housing. And I didn't even get like a high-end housing. I got a pretty entry-level housing. And so it's not cheap, and it's probably going to frustrate you more than anything else. I wouldn't do this just to shoot regular, because if you shoot standard front light, it's not really going to look any different. It pretty much looks the same. And I'll show you some images down the road shot in the housing that are front lit. It kind of looks like you were just super low level. So unless you want to try it for crazy, weird, wild effects like I am, that would be the only good use I would say for it. And it's a lot of money for that. So just a warning on that one before anybody goes out and buys a housing real quick. But, trying to do different stuff. All right. Let's see. Any other comments? What causes, Lena asks, what causes the effects of the light in the photos like this? Yeah, it's actually because my lens is partially submerged. So there's actually water coming up over top of the lens here, which is when you're shooting into the light's reflecting off of it and doing all kinds of weird stuff. So that's how I'm getting all these weird, wild, crazy effects. For this stuff, I was shooting through... There was some ice on branches in the foreground, and then shooting through trees, and the lens was halfway submerged. So there's a lot going on a crazy image like that and like this. So weird stuff. Super fun outing. Got to go out with a guy who guides for duck hunting. And once he was done his duck hunting season, he took me out in what's called a layout boat, which is you lay really flat on your back. And you kind of try to disappear from the ducks. He's put some decoys around, and I was able to have some incredible encounters with these scaup coming in and landing right on, head on at me like this, like just doing some really fun stuff. So that was really cool. The light was beautiful that morning. Got some bufflehead doing some silly things, landing and skipping along the surface. Check this out. He flies in, right? He flies in, starts sliding here. Then he kind of angles sideways that way, then onto his belly, but then he turns sideways. He's still like moving this direction. He's going like from right to left here, but he's like facing me, and then he completely skids out at the end. It was one of the craziest landings I've ever seen, but really, really cool. Anyway, yeah, just a fun morning playing with that. Then I was able to get the much better woodcock flight shot wide angle. That was a really cool one. In fact, I think This one I shot the evening that Lynette, who's on the live show, was with me, actually. So she was trying to do some of those as well. Did some more winter stuff, longtails down the shore, trying to get this shot that I want. I really want one of these guys riding a wave. Like, I want them riding one of these waves when they break, just like that. But I want that lighting on it. Haven't been able to make it happen yet. I've come close. Like, see, this guy's at the top of the wave, but the wave wasn't crashing. So I got to keep working on that. Winter in New Jersey for me is pretty much waterfowl season. So tons of waterfowl stuff. And then I did the woodcock one more time, got to do that one, and that one that's a little bit too ghosty, but this one worked out pretty well. It's cool how you can see the flight pattern of its wings there. And then, yeah, just some more waterfowl stuff. I was out was I in the float hide? No, I was not in the float hide for this one. I was thinking about it, but never did. And then, yeah, just some more merganser stuff, some ducks. And then early March hits, and gosh, when was this? March 11th, and already the first pine warblers have arrived in Jersey. So they show up so early. It's pretty cool. So able to do some really cool stuff there, spending some time with them. I started out in this burnt forest, which was incredible. New Jersey and South Jersey here, they were doing a lot of controlled burns, which was really neat. And I actually got this pine warbler in the smoldering forest. So you can see the bird right there. You can see the forest still smoldering like that. So some really, for my first warbler of the season, this was wild to do something so different like this. I've never seen anything like it before and haven't seen it since. This, I think, is my favorite shot, where you can see that bright little pop of yellow down there. Let me take my face off the screen so you guys can actually see it. Yeah, you get this nice little pop of yellow down there, and the smoldering smoke coming through, the sun shining into it. It was a wild scene to be able to see. So I shot a bunch of that. This was a few days later, out with Susan, who I believe is also on the live show today. And we were shooting this stuff that morning, having some fun with some backlight, some cool sun filtering through the forest, and then just some stronger backlight later in the day was fun. And let's see, a little bit more warbler stuff. Did one more warbler thing. Actually got to shoot a woodcock in daylight. Well, dusk. Some daylight, but you can actually see the bird, so that was cool. And then, yeah, just a few more, songbirds around. Got an outing out with some wood ducks. Nothing amazing there. Beautiful light, but tough habitat with the distance I had to shoot there. This is kind of cool with the arching branch, though, and the female up there. Loving that. And then did my first wide angle warbler of the season, which was this pine warbler. Full sun day. Actually set up a flash for this one and had a lot of fun with that. So Marcus asked, is the woodcock with on-camera flash? No, it is actually 2 off-camera flashes. So that's what that woodcock in flight was with. And then down to Florida I went. Actually got to stop and hang out with my friend Emily, who is on the Wild Conversation show, which, little plug for that, tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow at the same time. So Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For everybody that's on this show, if you guys want to hop over there and watch that tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of fun just having some good conversations about wildlife photography. So hope to have you on that show as well. All right, so anyway, got to stop down and shoot at her marsh. Had a ton of fun down there. Just incredible setup. Look at this. This was just one morning, really cool encounters with tricolored herons, little blue herons, just beautiful marsh, beautiful reflection. We had a real cool, moody, foggy morning. I didn't get the backlit sun stuff that I was hoping for that she gets there sometimes, but the fog was a nice mood. And you got to love these tricolored herons preening like that. It's so funny, right? Such gorgeous birds. So that was a really fun outing. Plus fun to meet her in person, hang out a little bit. Yeah, so made it to Florida. Just started shooting a ton of stuff there. This was around where my family stays. Just shooting some the standard stuff that I see there. I was really happy with how this image came out. Did some cool kind of abstract out of focus with this. It was kind of accidental, but I love how it turned out anyway. That photo I did share. And then back in the housing again. Here's a good example of a bunch of weird stuff I shot in the housing. So really trying some different stuff there. Shooting silhouettes, and here with the front lit shot, but you can see I actually submerged the lens part way, so it actually fades out part of the pole here. because part of it's underwater. So some different kind of cool things you can do with that. Then I had some clients. I believe all of this stuff was shot with clients on workshops, or at least the majority of it there. These spoonbills down there are so much fun, shooting them backlit, which was a lot of fun. Great egrets flying in there as well. Spent a lot of time with some royal terns. They're such goofy, but fun, cool personality birds, doing some fun stuff with silhouettes down there. Went out one more time in the housing. Check that out. Look how the water just smears the cormorants' heads. It's kind of neat. And then shot all these. Here's a great example, right? This is front lit in the housing. Doesn't look really different than if you were just sitting on the surface of the water. So that's where the housing gives you kind of no advantage. You know, you have to start doing really weird stuff with it like that to get some kind of really cool effects. And even this is something you probably could shoot that way. This is maybe a little bit different, you know, because now I'm starting to get bokeh above the bird. But yeah, it's fun, but incredibly challenging. This was a really fun morning, really trying to play with light, you know, get dramatic with it, fun backlit stuff, fun bokeh stuff. Got really lucky with this. This was pretty strong, not ideal light, but I found the right spot and was able to be ready when this snowy egret got nailed by a wave, which was hilarious. You can see here's a fisherman walking up. So here's the fisherman. He's holding, his lure is dangling right there. So I tried to frame the egret underneath between the fisherman and the lure as the guy walked by. Then I played with some high key stuff. And then, yeah, back in the forest, trying to get weird with some silhouettes, doing some different things with some blue-headed vireos. Back to the, actually, I think, yeah, that's the shot. My mom actually took this shot. Me and my sister took my mom out for her first time ever trying to photograph birds, and she got that shot. Pretty darn cool, I would say. It's pretty impressive for never having really shot birds with any kind of telephoto. That was pretty darn cool. Then over to the other coast of Florida, over to the West Coast, got to hang out with my good friend Theo over there and also run some workshops. So this was all mostly photographing burrowing owls. This was all before my client showed up. So this was just me shooting for myself at that point, just doing some scouting. And these birds are so much fun. Just trying to play with different colors in the sky, fun compositions, you know, playing with some lights in the background once the sun sets. I love shooting at dusk like this, really pushing your settings, you know, 40th of a second, f4, 2500 ISO. So that kind of stuff is cool. And then it's probably even worse there. Yeah. 25th of a second, f4, 4000 ISO. So definitely getting dark at that point, but you can get some great results pushing these cameras. It's pretty cool what you can do. So that was a lot of fun shooting that stuff. Back in the housing one morning, the housing was a detriment. I missed a lot of good shots because I was in the housing that day. But I'm okay with that. Got a couple of cool shots. Again, middle of the day, not good light, just trying to get weird with it. It's really what I was doing. This image, I really threw the white balance on to make it look very different. So if I show you the original straight out of camera, it's going to look nothing like that. Oh wait, is this an edited? Oh, this might be the Photoshop file. It is. You know what? I don't have the original handy. I was just going to show you guys though. But yeah, you know, whenever I get like harsh light, this is the kind of stuff I start trying to play with. I'm playing with more out of focus birds there. There's an Aninga, some real fun bokeh in the foreground. Just trying to make things pretty different, you know, looking for different ways of shooting. That's what I've been doing a lot of. All right. More burrowing owls, more wading birds. Had a real fun session with these ibis out on the flats, you know, just coming right up to you, shooting low angle. See, this was not in the housing. So this is where, you know, you can really get that crazy low perspective anyway without the housing. So certainly not needed to get really good shots like this. And in fact, if I was in the housing, I probably would have missed 90% of these. A few more owl sessions. Look at that bird. This is one of the owls that has these like marbled colored eyes instead of the bright yellow eyes. Just really pretty individual. I believe it was a female, and she was just such a striking bird. So spent a lot of time with her trying to do some fun stuff with backlight there, silhouettes. playing with dusk, finding these flowers in here, trying to do interesting compositions with them, yeah, just trying to do some fun stuff. Red-shouldered hawk, swallow-tailed kite, green heron. Had a lot of fun in Florida this year. Definitely shot some different stuff. Got to mix in some warblers down there as well. Oh yeah, got a couple parula down there, which was really good. And then I was back to the East Coast. Had a lot of fun. My first time finally getting some good shots of snail kites. So that's something I've been wanting to do for quite some time. I don't think I've shared any of these right here. So I've got some close-ups of them grabbing snails like that. This guy came out and just flew look, watch this, right at me. Look at that. Snail, water drop, eye contact, dramatic light, nice low perspective. To me, it's got it all. It worked out really well. And then, yeah, more swallowtail kites cruising around. Some portrait of these lovely vultures. This was a fun session with this red-shouldered hawk. Just got to such a cool perch he picked. Look at the graphical curve of that perch. And so just trying to play with it, that's probably my favorite right there. Haven't shared this one yet, but it is scheduled to come out shortly. Let's see what else. Incredible skies. So playing with some silhouettes. There's a snail kite with the snail in its beak going across. And then just shooting some of the cool lighting effects that happen with the clouds. Great blue heron going in front of that. So some fun stuff there. Let's see what other highlights. Oh, these were cool. Getting wide angle close-ups of these vultures with a dead turtle. That was pretty neat. Wasn't expecting to make that happen. These are all shot on my phone because I did not have a wide angle lens with me. Some fun with pelicans. Got real close up with pelicans. This whole series was kind of cool. Definitely enjoyed doing this. Yeah, just a lot of fun trying to find really cool details of these birds when you get really close, So I love my small and frame shots, but I also love trying to get really close. I'm framing the one bird with another bird in the foreground. So trying to use that for foreground. Beautiful eyes on these pelicans. Incredible eyes. Look at that. Yeah. I really wanted the bill to come up so I could have it up here out of focus, but he just kept it kind of tucked down and I couldn't get any lower. So that's the best I could do with that one. Fun session with some black skimmers. Then a project I'm working on trying to document, humans' impact on these birds down there at this one particular location between fishermen and just other people leaving trash around. So here's this ruddy turnstone with tasty cake box, and it's just sad to see that. And I do pick up that trash after I take the photos every chance I get. Got to see this crazy white ibis, adult and juvie fight. Check this thing out. They got crazy. They're just attacking each other. Look at this thing, jumping on top of each other. Oh, it was amazing. Just firing away through the whole thing, hoping something will come of it. Look at that. This time the juvie got clamped on the adult's bill. I love this. And then the gull is just sitting there watching. So funny. But crazy, crazy stuff. It was such a cool encounter. Look at that. I mean, they went nuts. The adult ended up chasing the juvie away. That's what happened in the end. So pretty wild stuff. I had a client come over. I worked with her the first time. In fact, I think she was with me when I shot that. Maybe. I don't remember. It's hard to remember. But she was certainly with me when we shot this stuff. Just a lovely backlit series of royal terns. Got some in full breeding plumage. And then finally, my first good chance with sandwich terns. I've photographed them before in the past, but never gotten any really good shots. And so, yeah, it was amazing to finally get, this is one of my favorites. And I think I just scheduled this one to go on the website in the coming month. So this was one I wasn't sure about. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. What do you think of this shot? Is there too much going on? So my thought was it's pretty interesting. I used foreground royal terns to frame this one out of focus in the background, or in focus in the background. And so I got some interesting bokeh off of the elements that were reflecting on these birds. But I couldn't decide if it was too busy or not. And I don't know if I ever fully shared it. No, I didn't. Yeah, I haven't fully shared it online anywhere. So, yeah, I'm just curious. Risha says in the comments here, great. She's here live. She was with me for that fight. That's what I thought. Nice. That's great. Yeah, and she got some incredible backlit stuff on that. So on this whole series right there. And then right before we left, we shot some dusk shots on that day. Beautiful pastel colors in the sky. That was a fun day. This is a panoramic stitch that I did, so a couple of images to show off more of that sky. And yeah, back in the housing again, doing some weird stuff. So here's another outing in the housing. This was when I was on my own. These are single exposures, not motion blur. This is just weird stuff that happens when water's on the front of the housing. So again, you can see some more of that smear. You get some real weird effects that I absolutely love, and just a lot of fun. So yeah, just trying some different stuff with that housing and seeing what happens. So this was a cool one. This is funny, right? So it's really hard to see what I'm shooting through the lens when I'm doing that housing. And so I knew there was another bird here, but I was only concentrating on this one and tried to compose it this way. This was a pure accident. I didn't even see this in the frame when I shot it, but the other one's bill coming slightly into that little opening there. And I just think it's such a cool little touch. I absolutely love it. Yeah. And thanks for the feedback, guys. A couple of people saying that the frame royal turn shot do work for them. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Couple more backlit shots in the water there, and then some incredible times with the spoonbills. Just having them come and land right in front of you. Just a lot of fun here. So I'll just scroll through a few of these because I shot a ton of them. And let me just switch so you guys can see the full screen. And take a sip of water because there's a lot of talking. So these are all one morning. This is just one particular outing. Spent a lot of time shooting some flight shots with these birds, trying to get some nice portraits of them as well. But yeah, they were actively building nests, so coming in and out quite a lot. Just a ton of fun getting them to do that. Look at that. Just grabbing all these sticks. It was so funny. They're such weird birds, but beautiful at the same time. Check that out. That seems like just the right stick, doesn't it? Coming in the land right there. Look at these guys. So fun. One of my favorites. I've wanted a shot like that for quite some time. I do wish the light was a little bit better, like a little bit less strong, but it was the right direction and there's no hard shadows anywhere other than the one of its neck, like on the body there, but that's not too bad. The rest of it does work. The colors really pop. So I was happy with that one. All right. And that was it for the turns there, or the spoonbills. Then back to Jersey. The first thing I did before I started having clients, I was out scouting and doing some shooting on my own. First things I did was some wide angle stuff. So this is getting into warbler season. So these are the two chunks we'll hit now. I'm going to hit warbler season, and then I'll do some Alaska stuff. So thanks so much, guys, for hanging in there with me. I definitely appreciate it, everybody that joined. And yeah, you guys are going to get to see a lot of images that have not been shown yet. So you're definitely going to get the nice sneak peek on Alaska. So yeah, let's continue on here. And so, yeah, started with some wide angle. This was the second wide angle because I did that pine earlier in the year, but I got this black and white. And this is where I was kind of learning and figuring out. Like, I don't love how this is just straight branch and then background, you know. I did this the same day, though. Much happier with this, right? We got a little bit more foreground in play. Then you can see the background really showing off that burnt habitat. So that one was a really fun one. And then just shooting some regular telephoto shots as well. In some burnt habitat, and then the flowers started happening. So for this stuff, I'm probably just going to stay full screen here and just kind of go through real quick. If anything jumps out at me story-wise, I'll stop and say, share a little bit more of that story. My favorite species, the yellow-throated warbler. I think they're just such a stunning bird. Just that color pattern just works so well for me. Something I wanted to have done for many years now is shoot a cormorant colony near me where they're breeding and they have beautiful colors. I still didn't manage to get the shots that I really want, so I want to go back next year because every time I visited this year, it was super windy. So I wasn't able to get there yet on a nice calm day, but you know, hopefully I can still actually probably do it. They're just not going to have, like, these males aren't going to be as brilliant. Like, look at the color of the eyes and the throat and the beak and all that. Just beautiful colors that time of year. But yeah, obviously early season, not much to shoot yet. Pine warblers, yellow throated, that's about it, you know. So that's what you're going to see a lot of in the early season. First attempt playing around with backlit flash in the rain warbler. Not quite what I wanted. This is a little bit more side lit because it did not land where I wanted, but the first time I attempted that concept, and as you're going to see later on, I definitely perfected that concept. This one was pretty close, but the rain was so light and my flash too low. I did get it a little bit. You can see there's a nice glow on the lichens here, glow on the bird. You can see the rain in the air, but not quite what I had hoped. Here's another example of that. But I get better as the season progresses. So again, just trying really different stuff, you know. This might be getting into client season now. I think I had a client with me. Yeah, actually Lynette was with me on this one. I remember that. We had incredible backlight on this particular morning and just had an absolute blast shooting these cormorants flying around. So yeah, just a lot of fun. Incredible light that morning and the nesting material. Such a fun thing to watch with these birds. Very fun to watch them. Susan's asking, will there be spoonbills in Key West? You know what? I don't know, actually. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to check that out. I would assume they're down there, but I don't know. Because Susan's joining me for a trip. I'm taking people out to dry tortugas this year, which is going to be a lot of fun. So if you have any interest in that, get in touch, get on the waiting list, because I already have a waiting list for next year for that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, let me go through these cormorants really quick. Again, just trying to shoot variety. This is one of my favorites, shooting through some foreground. A lot of fun. And then back to warblers. Spending some time trying to get some warbler breath. There we go. Got common yellowthroat breath. Prairie didn't work out. Didn't give me the breath shots, but gave some nice portraits. Louisiana water thrush. Oops, shot through that last one. This was a favorite backlit shot. I did a whole video of me photographing these birds, so I'll have that coming out at some point in the future, but I just haven't had the time to put these together. I have a lot of behind-the-scenes videos I've shot, but haven't had time to edit yet, so stay tuned for those. In any case, got really close on this yellow-throated warbler. It was a real friendly bird, which was neat. And then, yeah, some fun with some prairie. First prothonotary of the year showed up. First hooded of the year was fun. Tried to do some tree framing in the foreground with this particular bird. I find hooded are such a tough species for me. I struggle with them. Love when these parulas do like these hanging behaviors like that. Really fun. I remember the client I was with, my friend Jeff was with me on this one. We had this bird sat on that perch. I'm not exaggerating, guys. 5 minutes it sat there. We walked all around shooting a bunch of different perspectives. He just dropped into there and chilled. Oh, there's my Lightroom edit, Photoshop edit. You can see how much better it gets there. A lot of fun with this Louisiana water thrush. One of my favorite shots of them this year. This real small in frame image like that. I just shared this today, actually. So this was pretty early in the season when things were a little bit cooler, doing some parula breath. You can see I got some good breath there, but stupid branch in the way. And then no breath there. Some white-eye vireo action. And then prothonotary became the bird of the year. This was where I first found a really good prothonotary and started working with them. And yeah, I was real happy with how this shot came out. And here we go, finally starting to perfect that backlit flash in the rain. So here's a parula backlit flash in the rain, and then this one, which I've shared already. I think I shared both of these already. But very happy, very proud of these images. Something different. There it is without the flash. Look how different that is. So same shot, same moment, same perch, still raining. That's with when the flash did not fire. That's when it fired. Look at that. Like how the hell? It's incredible to me how it transforms the scene. You know, pretty wild stuff. So managed to get a worm eating in the rain as well. That was a lot of fun. So I was just running around trying to get as many species as I could in the rain that morning. I like this one a lot. Came out pretty cool. But what a cool looking bird, aren't they? That stripy head. Gotta love that. Got a black and white in the rain that morning. And then the rain stopped and my streak with the rain was done that particular morning. So yep, some more fun warbler stuff. Let's see how far along I'm getting. There's going to be so much warbler stuff. I'm probably just going to scroll through some thumbnails here and show you. You know, we hit that time of year where the cherry blossoms start going, so I'll take anything in them, right? Chipping sparrow, parula. This one of my favorites on the flowers. This guy came down and gave a really good show on that. Tried to do some backlight with the flowers as well. Back to more worm eating. Then yellow-throated in the flowers. My good friend Parula Paul here, I've named him. I've shot the same bird 4 years in a row. Yeah, Tobias just mentioned how crazy it was. The rain wasn't even visible without the flash. Yeah, it was a real fine rain. What I've actually realized is the more fine rain actually shows up more interesting with the flash, because heavy rain, the drops kind of get they just get really big and bright when the flash hits them. So they're almost a bit overpowering. But if you can get that fine mist rain where there's a lot of particles in the air, but they're small, that looks amazing with the flash in the rain. So such a pretty cool thing. Prothonotary, I thought this guy was on a nest here because he was coming out of that cavity, but I revisited a couple times and he was mediocre. There didn't seem to be a nest forming there. So I was kind of bummed because it would have been that's such a cool cavity. It would have been incredible, but I don't know whatever happened. I had to go up to North Jersey to work, so I wasn't able to really extend my time with that bird, but I definitely did spend some time with it. Just playing around with a lot of scenic compositions with worm eating and then getting close as well, so just a ton of variety. Look at this guy singing with a beak full of insect. Love when they do that. These yellow-throated are quite beautiful. So getting them in the flowers is always just a lot of fun. Same day as me and a few clients shot this and found some killdeer chicks. I see Brad just hopped in the comments there. Thanks so much, Brad. Appreciate you being here for a bit. Mark is saying true story. Yeah, so Prothonotary just was my South Jersey bird of the season. I found a lot of them in really good spots this year and just tried to do a lot of different stuff with them. So this was all one outing right here. So I'm going to show you, to me, this is what's kind of fun, the variety you can get in a single outing. Wait, that's a different spot, different day. Yeah, that was the next day. But check this out, right? All just one outing right there. Nice variety there. The next day I went to another spot. I don't know if it was exactly the next day or close to it. And then you just mix it up and get completely green and swampy habitat. So this bird was in a very different swampy habitat. Back in the housing, trying some backlit stuff, only managed some Canada geese. Nothing too special that day. And then wide angle Prothonotary, it was full sun, so I had to use flash. Didn't like using flash, but that was the only way around it. Experimenting with some flash on camera. It works, but it's just so flashed looking. It's not particularly my taste, but yeah. And then back to Prothonotary. So here's another Prothonotary outing. This was all, let's see, this, yeah, here we go. This was all one evening right here. So there you go. That's one evening with a single Prothonotary warbler. Spent hours with this bird. I would say probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, something like that would be my guess. Susan in the chat here was with me on this one. And yeah, we just had an incredible time. I was out in the water with the housing for this one. I was hoping to do some reflection stuff, but the bird never landed low enough. So I ended up just doing some backlit stuff. So had it in the housing. So it was my first time ever shooting a Prothonotary or any warbler species in an underwater housing. It certainly didn't need to be for this, but it was just my camera was in it and the bird landed there, so I had to shoot. You know what I mean? But yeah, did some fun stuff with that. And then I did ditch the housing and then just start shooting regularly for all of this stuff. So none of this is in the housing. This is just shooting regular. Trying to do a pano there. So that's the original bottom half of the shot. And then that's when I stitched the top half piece in. But it's just such a cool perch and really cool habitat. This is another stitch that I did when that bird landed on that perch. But yeah, just trying to find interesting compositions, having a lot of fun, spending time with a bird like this, spending a couple hours with the same bird, just watching it go around, doing its feeding, doing its thing. That's when you really start to get creative in my mind. You really start to see the light, you see the location, you see the possibilities, the potential. You start figuring out what compositions work, which ones don't. And you really get to just dial in, and try different stuff. And you get a wide variety, you get a whole kind of varied portfolio of a bird by spending so much time with it. So that's one thing I do recommend people do as much as possible. This was like a couple mornings later, and I went on a wide angle kick that morning. I didn't even bring a telephoto out, so I got that. This is the same prothonotary that I, a couple nights prior had spent a few hours with. So went back on a morning. And again, Susan was with me on this one and was able to shoot some sweet wide angle images. None of these have seen the light of day yet, so you guys are getting the sneak peek on this. So thanks for watching. And then this worm-eating warbler as well, which was a lot of fun. There's, I think, a comment or two in the a question, I should say. Marcus asks, when you use off-camera flash, are you setting them up on tripods on the ground, holding them? Just curious how you adjust them quickly enough to catch the bird. I just set them usually on the ground, or I use I have one of those Gorilla Pod things that, those Gorilla Pod things that has where you can kind of strap it to a tree or a branch or anything like that. But the flash stays stationary. I'm not moving the flash with the bird. I'm just waiting for the bird to land in the right spot. So it's got to line up. I can move around a little bit to line up the bird with the flash, which I do, right? But it's all about getting that bird has to land in the right general area, whether it be a specific perch or just the general area where the flash can kind of illuminate it. And I have a few where they land off to the side, and I try it anyway, and then the flash just hits it from the side, and it kind of blows out the one whole side of it, and it doesn't work out. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. It's incredibly time consuming, incredibly specific, and a giant pain, right? So it's kind of how it goes, right? The more creative, the more different a lot of these shots are, the more challenging they are to get most of the time, and that's exactly what it is. The more, I miss so many standard shots trying all of these different things, but that's okay, because for me, I'm lucky enough to already have a whole catalog of those standard shots, so I'm willing. It's a lot more easy for me to try these more experimental things and accept that I'm going to miss a lot of shots because I already have those shots, so I'm okay with trying to get that. But if you're going to try this stuff, just be aware, I think mentally preparing yourself and being aware and ready and accepting of the fact that you're going to miss a lot of otherwise good shots can help you in the pursuit of these more unique photos. At least that's how I see it. Let's see. Questions. Susan says the prothonotary's name is Tom. I guess she named him Tom because she spent a lot of time with that bird, so that's great. Let's see. Brad says, what warbler is your most sought after warbler each year? Or does it change? Meaning if you aren't able to get an image, you would be bummed out. That's a good question, Brad. I don't have I don't think I ever have a specific species that I seek, I've got to have that warbler this year. It just seems that every year a different species becomes the species that I work the most with. And I think that just tends to happen naturally with species that I find more often. So there's species that I'll never probably concentrate on as heavily because they're found everywhere, like pine warblers, black and white warblers. I can find them pretty much everywhere. They're plentiful, easy to find, widespread. And so I don't spend a ton of time concentrating on them. I usually spend more time concentrating on the more hard to find birds. And so in the South this year was prothonotary. So every year I can usually find one or two on territory that I can revisit a few times. This year I think I found 4 of them, or 5 maybe, on territory, different birds in different areas that were all really good and cooperative and would hang out and be, not scared and that kind of thing. So I had a ton of opportunity with them. And so, as with everything wildlife, right? When I have that, I take advantage of it like crazy. So when I find these birds that are giving me a lot of opportunity, I am on them as many times as I can. And understandably, it makes sense that I'm going to take my clients there, right? Because if it's a good bird that's giving a lot of photo opportunity, then I want my clients to have an opportunity with that. So whenever I find one of these really good birds, I tend to visit them semi-often. But I try not to hit the same bird day after day after day because I don't want to disturb any area too long. So it's great when I have multiple locations that I can kind of bounce around with during any given period of time. But no, I don't think there's ever a specific species, but great question. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, thanks for the compliments on the wides. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, so some more prothonotary. Let's see. Anything else that stands out? some blue wing warblers. Got my one solid summer tanager this year. It gave me a great shot, but I tried 2 days after to get the same bird. Saw it once, it never gave a shot. Third time I went, never even saw the bird. So that's how it goes sometimes. Just going to take a sip of water and keep scrolling here. Tobias just asked, do I find after nesting is finished, does the range of warblers increase? I don't know. I pretty much don't shoot warblers after nesting has concluded. So, does it increase? He's like, would I say, he's adding a follow-up. So would you say it gets less consistent later in the summer? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I pretty much don't shoot them once nesting season begins, actually. So what I mean by that is, like, once they're probably close to hatching the young, or they are actually, feeding young, like as soon as I see birds feeding in an area, I pretty much kind of stop shooting that area. I'll maybe shoot it like that time that I find it. But then after that, I'm kind of out of there. Just for me, two reasons. One being that I usually end up, my schedule has me going to other areas. So, this year I was in Alaska when nesting season truly began here. In South Jersey, once these southern Jersey warblers are really starting to be on their nests, the young are starting to hatch, that's when I go to North Jersey, where things are 2 weeks delayed, something like that, really even more. So I go spend a few weeks up there photographing birds, the warblers, and then once they're kind of starting into really getting into their nesting cycle, then I'm usually on to something else. Usually it was either shorebirds in the past, or this year I went to Alaska. So my schedule tends to keep me away from these birds when they're really, truly, raising their young and feeding young and stuff like that. But secondarily, I wouldn't want to bother them that much. If it's just one person, like if it's you individually, I don't think that's a big deal if you go in and, you're careful and, making sure the birds are just doing their thing naturally. But for me, I'm working with people a lot, so I'm bringing people in and out quite often. So that would just seem kind of like too much disturbance when they're really trying to raise the young. Whereas earlier in the year, they're all trying to set up territories, and I think they're a little bit less established, and I'm moving around a lot more, so it doesn't seem as big a deal. I love this encounter. This this male and female just screaming at each other, these redstarts. Pretty funny. Let's see. Susan says, instead of hoping for a specific species, it is most fun to find really cooperative birds and stay with them without bothering them. It's fun to watch their behavior. Yep. She's just kind of reiterating the same thought I had mentioned. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Because I think I still got a ways to go to get to Alaska. So I'm going to go through the warblers a little bit quicker. That was kind of South Jersey. Then I went up to North Jersey. First day up there scouting. Got a black-throated blue. This was just a migratory bird because it wasn't not the right habitat for them, and they don't really breed there, or very minimally. And then started wide angle again up there. So started trying to do some wide angle stuff up north. Definitely one of my favorites. Like, I just found this scene. Listen, some of these wide angle shots, I will do minimal staging in my warbler photography. And what that means is, I'll try to find stuff that's right in the area and maybe move it a little bit, or, that kind of thing. But I try to keep that to a minimum. I don't really like doing that if possible. I much prefer to shoot natural scenes. This was a completely natural scene. Like, I walked up and this scene was there. I plunked my camera down in front of it and then waited and got this redstart on it. Cause he was crazy in this habitat. He was chasing every bird that came near. It didn't matter what species it was. It was hilarious. This bird was insane. He must have just arrived and was like, this is going to be my territory. So he was defending it to the death. I say that with exaggeration. I don't think anything died. But man, he was a crazy cool bird. And yeah, I was able to get my first wide angle. And then I put my 300 and 1.4 teleconverter on and then shot him. This is the same bird, and shot him. So I went from wide angle to extreme close up where I couldn't even fit the bird in a frame. Cause he would just land right in front of you and didn't care. It was really, really cool. So he was a lot of fun. And then I tried some more wide angle stuff up there unsuccessfully. That was just a scouting trip up to north. came back down South Jersey for a couple more workshops, did some stuff with some parulas, was able to have a really fun wide angle session with this guy. Again, just a real fun low hanging bird. Was able to have a fun wide angle session with Prothonotary right here. Probably my favorite Prothonotary of the year. Again, I haven't shared this shot, and I probably might hang on to this one for a contest. But you guys got to see it, so you got the little sneak peek. And then just a couple more Parula shots, and this is another really fun one. So did one shorebird outing. That was kind of about it, right? Not a lot going on out there. Just I missed the tide. I messed up the tide, basically. Thanks for the compliment, Derek, on the red start. I appreciate that. So then, yeah, a little bit more South Jersey stuff. Oh, gosh, look at that. I forgot. I shot more South Jersey. look how often Prothonotary comes up. Look, over and over and over again. Oh, love this red start photo. I don't know if I shared this one yet. I may have. Yeah, and then just spent a little bit more time with Prothonotary. And then I think this is the last of the South Jersey stuff. Yes. Now I'm up to North Jersey, hanging out with this Brewster's. Found this bird last year, got to shoot him in the same exact field this year. Love when that happens. So cool. Gorgeous bird. And then, yeah, starting to work with some of these northern species. Black-throated green here. Black and white up there as well. This bird was hanging out in the same tree. He allowed me to walk into like minimum focus like this with my 300 f4. So super chill, really relaxed, not scared of me at all. And I kicked myself because I drove away because it was getting a little dark. And then I realized, like, why did I not try wide angle? Because I had the one from earlier in the year that was kind of mediocre. But I know I should have, that bird would have been great to set up something wide angle with. But anyway, next year. Got to leave something for next year, right? So anyway, this is all North Jersey Warbler season. Another one of my favorites. All of these wide angle shots I'm in love with this year. Was able to get a black-throated green wide. Beautiful swampy scene. There was actually, you can't really see it, but there's like a little creek running down here filled with moss. All these ferns growing. There's like a hemlock forest up here. The ferns and then the little violets growing down there. It was just the whole scene came together. And again, this was one of those things where it was like, this is it, you know? I think I tweaked the angle of this log before I set my camera down, but that was about it. Everything was here. I didn't move anything, you know, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just really fun. Blackburnian started out like really tough. I did really good with them last year, struggled with them this year. Cerulean ended up being amazing this year, though. Last year struggled with Cerulean, did amazing with Cerulean this year. For example, you know, got some great shots with them this year. So, yeah, it's kind of weird how season to season these birds will change. This was a really cool spot. Found this beautiful tree, this spruce tree with these fresh pine cones growing on it. There was one perch lower, like I think it was like the tip of this branch that was pretty eye level, or maybe there was one below it. And it was really sad, you know, and this was a reminder for me to not do this myself, right? To me, this tree was beautiful where it was. It was in shade. There was some good birds around there that hung out in the tree. This blackburnian I found last year, went back again this year. And then I came back like a day after I took this, and somebody had snapped off the lowest branch of this spruce tree that was like beautiful looking. And it had like these cones on the top of it. And I was like, come on, why would anybody do that? And I'm like, it had to be a photographer. Like, who else would do that, you know? And so it was a reminder to me to like, just let things be, you know, let things grow. Try not to, you know, break stuff. I mean, like, listen, if it's a plant where there's like a million of the same thing growing in an area and you grab a piece and you move it or something, then I think whatever with that. But, you know, I guess the lesson here for me was like, leave things as they are, you know, try not to disturb nature as much as possible when out photographing stuff, because that was frustrating to see. And to me as a photographer, it was in such a good spot to begin with. I don't know why anybody would do it. So it was kind of weird, but in any case, yeah, I found a second Brewster's Warbler in the same area. So this was a different looking one, which was really cool. Lots of fun with Veery. Lynette, if she's still here, she was with me when we photographed that Veery, which was a lot of fun. And then, yeah, this female Blackburnian was real cooperative. This was a real cooperative female, which was neat. Lots of fun with black and white. Actually, this is the same Veery on a different day. Went back to the same spot because that bird was like just a lot of fun. So yeah, I got to do some really cool stuff with him. Hooded Warbler was good for a while. Black-throated Green, Prairie, all this stuff. Lots of fun up North Jersey. Cerulean, there's that same female Blackburnian again. So I got her on a couple different days, which was really cool. Then started picking up some chestnut-sided, which was a lot of fun. Those birds are gorgeous. Got a wide angle of this common yellowthroat in this field of purple flowers, which is really cool. I was really happy with that. And then if somebody can tell me what this plant is, I would love to know it. If you know what this plant is, leave it in the comments. It was such a beautiful plant. When it was budding, like the shapes and the colors here that come out of the buds were just gorgeous. So I was loving photographing these. I had blue wing, prairie, and black and white all on this plant. And they're big trees. Like these were small ones, right, out in an open field. But I saw full-size trees growing with the same buds on the end of them. So I'm assuming it's some type of tree. But I don't know my plants well, and I would love to know because it's a gorgeous plant, especially, check this out, when it gets backlit. Like, look at that. The shapes and everything on it. Oh, I mean, to me, like, this is one of my favorite. Like, look how graphically cool, like, the shapes are and the red and everything. Oh, it was so pretty to see in person, too. So, yeah, a lot of fun with this bird. Got the spiderweb umbrella with that prairie warbler, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, and then I really just concentrated on some backlit stuff in those plants because it was a lot of fun there. Amazing indigo bunting. This guy put on a show for me and the guy I was working with that day. And then, yeah, this common yellowthroat again in that same area with the purple flowers. Just a lot of fun with this indigo. That blue, it's one hell of a blue, isn't it? All right, so that's some other stuff there. Let's see. Let's keep it moving along. We're doing pretty good here. We're getting there. Another day. Here's another day I got to do some wide angle. This was an interesting day. Check this out. See the breath coming out from this black and white? And you'll see it really good right there and right there. Look at that. Nice and clear, right? In fact, I thought I edited. Yeah, here we go. Here's one I fully edited. Right? Really good breath. It was like between 60 and 65 degrees. It was warm and humid on this morning. I was blown away. You could see the breath. So that was the first I encountered that where you could really see the breath on a warmer day. And so it made me realize, like, if it's super humid, high humidity, even when it's warmer out, you can still see the breath. So another really fun encounter this year. My first ever time stumbling upon a timber rattlesnake. Me and the client had a great time with this. We stopped trying to photograph a Blackburnian warbler that was singing overhead in that moment because this snake showed up. So yeah, it was so cool to see. Such a cool snake. Just incredible looking creature. Absolutely loved it. Light was tough, but managed a few good shots on that. All right. Blue wing warbler had a nice, really good year with that species. It felt like I struggled all year, but I think because I was struggling, I was working harder on them, and turned out in the end, I had a real nice portfolio of blue wing warbler. Same thing with cerulean. Felt like I was struggling a little bit, but kept working for them, and again, felt like I got a whole portfolio of them. So that was really good. Let's see, any more comments? Black-throated green was another really good species this year. This one individual I photographed multiple times over a period of weeks. He was just in the same area. I was able to go back every 3-4 days and hang out with him, which was really cool. My best oven bird shot of the year. They're always a tough species for me, so I was thrilled to be able to pull that one off. And then some prairie warblers, some more blue wing. See, here's I had a good encounter with blue wing. Cerulean, super close. Blackburnian, tough in the beginning of the year. Finally, by the end of the season, like 2.5 weeks in, started finding some good birds, consistent birds, and was able to do some really good stuff with them. Same thing with chestnut-sided. I always struggle with them, finding them. This year, I finally learned their song, was able to kind of narrow them down and start picking up a lot more of them this year, which is a good thing. So, because very gorgeous birds, love spending time with them. Look at these purple columbine flowers. Never saw them purple, which is really pretty. This guy rolling in with the purple flowers, the yellow flower, and he was eating this caterpillar at the same time. Oh, that was an amazing moment when that happened. But yeah, this bird was, this blue wing was really good. And that yellow and purple flower combo is always a nice touch. So yeah, and then spent a lot of time at Blackburnian towards the end of the year. Tried like hell to get wide angle black Burnian, just could not make it happen this year. So maybe next year will be my year for that. But boy, did I try. I tried really hard. I thought I had a couple of birds that might do it for me, but they would not. So some silhouette fun. Cerulean actually gave me wide angle, which was really cool. Susan, who was on the call, was with me on this one. She was actually able to get some as well. So we got to work on wide angle stuff together, and then chestnut sided the same morning. So that was really fun. I was glad that she was willing to experiment, put away the telephoto lenses, and try some different wide angle stuff. So that was cool. We did shoot some telephoto stuff anyway, because this was the same morning. So. Yeah, and then got really nice outing with this Toei in the phlox flowers. That was cool. So it's really cool. Let's see. Harisha said it's common shagbark hickory, and Susan had mentioned it was a hickory tree. All right, excellent. Good to know. Hickory. Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys are all the best. The internet's the best for stuff like that. Thanks so much. Now that I know. Nice. Got like almost 30 people watching here. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. Really appreciate you guys joining. We're getting almost to Alaska. So if you're just joining in, get ready. Alaska's coming up soon. So, and if you started from the beginning, well, I'll try and get you there quick. Let's see if there's any other really good warbler stuff. Lynette, who is still here, she mentioned she's still here. We had one tough outing. This was one of my last outings of the year up in North Jersey for warblers. Rained all day long. I mean, we were out in this soaking rain right here, and it wasn't just like a drizzle. It was like a pretty solid heavy rain for, I think we did like 6 hours in it, something like that. It was not fun. And it was cold day, windy, but the birds did not care. And we got some really cool photos. Look at these parulas in the rain. We had some really good encounters with them. Love it on the spruce like that. I mean, look at all the water drops on there. Lynette shot one that was really close up. You could see all the detail in the water drops on the spruce and on the bird, and it was really cool. But yeah, we did have some fun with that. I like this one. He's using it like an umbrella, which is an idea that I stole from Brad James. He had mentioned it. He mentioned it in a group chat just a few days prior, and I got to say, I wasn't actively thinking, let me steal his shot, but this bird did land under there in some rain like a day or two after we had talked about it, and then I got that, so I shared it to him. I was like, look, dude, stole your idea. So I felt a little bad, but hey, it's a good idea, you know? That's what friends are for, right? Inspiration, and take their good ideas and try and do them. Yeah, we struggled in the rain, but it's tough shooting, but some of these results are incredible. So let's see. Chris is saying, take my time. No need to rush. Love seeing the warbler shots. Thanks, man. Well, I just don't want, I don't expect people to hang out for 2 hours on a Saturday. That's all. I'm going through a lot of photos here. So, here's one of my favorites. Spruce is one of my favorite trees to shoot these birds in, and the rain and the parula, which is a great bird. So then I think Lynette was pissed at me because after this, I did legitimately leave. Here's what happened, right? We wrapped up. We were both kind of tired. I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to my hotel. And as I'm driving back to the hotel, the rain started picking up again. And I thought to myself, you know what, Ray, this is like one of your last days up here. If you're going to try, because I hadn't done any warblers in the rain since earlier in the season in South Jersey, as far as backlit with flash. And I had the gear with me, and driving back to the hotel, I had legitimately decided I was wrapped up, said goodbye to Lynette, and I was headed back. But then it hit me in my head. It was like, this is your chance, and I was tired and cold and exhausted, but it hit me. It was like, this is your chance. Like these conditions don't happen that often where you're getting the rain, the free time, and the cooperative warblers that are around. And so I decided on my way back to hotel, I was still in the area where the warblers that I usually shoot them. And so I knew some spots where I could go and try and find some cooperative birds. And so I did that, and it's so easy for me, and I'm sure many of you, right? It's so easy to just kind of justify it away. Like, you know what? There's not going to be any birds there. They're not going to cooperate. The photo isn't going to work. It'll stop raining by the time I get there, right? Come up with all these excuses to not go. And I was doing some of that, but thankfully the voice of take the chance, just go for it, kind of overpowered it. And so I did go out and try to do some backlit warblers in the rain. I was able to get this American red start in the rain. And then I was able to get, I thought I got another species, blue-wing warbler in the rain as well, backlit with the flash, and shoot a few things. And I know, I think Lynette saw some of these and she was like, what the hell, Ray? Why didn't you bring me on that? And I did feel bad. But you know, it was kind of, like I said, it was one of those last minute, deliberating in my head things, and I just kind of last minute decided to do it after I had already driven away. And so sorry, Lynette, next year I'll get you. Look, she's saying in the comments, I don't believe him, he ditched me. I did not, I swear I didn't ditch you. It was just that last minute decision, but next year, Lynette, we'll get you. She's still sour. Well, I mean, the shots weren't that good, Lynette. I mean, look, this is all there was, you know. Met up with my friend Theo before he left the area. We did some my first time photographing golden wing in a couple of years, which was really fun. And we had some chestnut sighted as well, so that was cool. And just a nice time hanging out with him. And then I think that kind of about wrapped up the season, right? Let's see. Yeah, just a few more things. That's about it for the warblers. Nothing else great there. What else did I get? What's this guy? Oh, I did get I got that Brewster's again. And then some Blackburnian and Parula. So that kind of wrapped up. That was the last of the warbler season right there, June 1st. And then me and Susan, who is on the live show right now. That's the word I'm looking for. And another gentleman that joined me for a workshop this year he kindly invited us to go out on his boat to photograph shorebirds during the shorebird migration here. And so we planned a day. I think we were a little late in the season and the tides were just a little bit less than ideal, but we did have some amazing light that morning. I was able to get this Sanderling, I think this was. Let's see. Semi-palmated sandpiper, sorry. This was semi-palm. And yeah, there we go. That's right. Semi-palmated sandpipers. Got some in flight, so had some fun action with that. And then we actually got some more warblers after the fact. So worm-eating warbler and flowering mountain laurel, which was pretty cool. So, you know, not a ton of photos from that morning, but some really cool ones. And this one I really love. Like, that color is hard to beat. So that was a really cool encounter and such a great thing to be invited on. So then here we go. We made it on to Alaska. So this was just a few weeks ago. I went up to Alaska with my friend, my really great friend, Jamin Taylor. He's kind enough to give me a place to stay when I go up there and take me out. He takes some time off and we just go out and shoot. We shot for 8 days straight this time. And it's Alaska. It's incredible. It's just ridiculous. You know, everywhere is beautiful. The birds are just amazing every time. He's got his area so down. He knows exactly where everything is. That's really good and cooperative. And yeah, he just put us on some amazing birds. I say us because another student that's worked with me a lot, done a lot of workshops with me, Cameron Darnell, completely coincidentally planned a trip up there. Same time, our trips overlapped. So for the first 2 or 3 days, all three of us shot together. And then Cam went up to Nome after that, and I stayed in the Anchorage area with Jamin, and we did some more photography. So anyway, yeah, here I have a ton of stuff from Alaska. I shot 12,000 photos, narrowed it down to like 680 some. I think I set aside like 200 some that are worth sharing. I don't think I have, well, they're all right here, but I'll try and skip through them quickly. If you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know. All right, so started out with a rainy day, classic Alaskan weather, right? Overcast, a little dreary, but beautiful. My first time ever seeing and photographing redneck phalarope. So got this, decent standard portrait, and then this guy came in super close, got a great high key portrait of him. Same spot, redneck loon. Red-throated loon. That's the word I'm looking for. I always get that and redneck grebe I mix the names up. So red-throated loon. First time seeing them in breeding plumage. I've seen and photographed them here in Jersey in the past. but they're just kind of gray, kind of blah looking. So seeing one in breeding plumage, beautiful, beautiful bird. This bird was nuts. He's just super friendly. He's very people acclimated because of where he's located. And so, yeah, he just comes right up. So you'll see as I progress on this, you're going to see some close-up shots of this bird. But yeah, just gorgeous, gorgeous bird. Here's an example. None of this stuff is cropped. This is all shot this way with, by the way, like 420 millimeter on a full frame. So not a lot of reach here, you know. Some of this stuff was done. You'll see I'll switch to a 70 to 200 as well. And then I actually switched to a 24 to 70 lens at one point. But look at that. I love this one. This one makes me laugh every time. That head on the, like, I've actually seeing this bird in person. He was pretty aggressive with people, oddly enough. So you couldn't stay low. You had to actually, like, if he came towards you, you had to like back up because I think he was going to attack. Not I think, I've heard he has in the past. So yeah, he was like really aggressive. So this is like an intimidating shot, seeing him staring right at you like that. Let me get rid of my face off of these so you guys can really see these photos as I go through them. Are the phalaropes up there less skittish? I have no idea, Tobias. That was the first time I've ever photographed phalaropes. They were not skittish at all. I can tell you that, man. I have wide angle shot. I shot some with a 24 to 70 millimeter lens. So they were super friendly. Most times I encountered them, not every one of them, but most of the ones I encountered, were pretty friendly. Yeah. They were not very skittish. So I don't know what the normal is with them though. I've never seen them or photographed them anywhere else. So here's some of that 2470 stuff. You can see I was just trying to show off some of the habitat of this bird. It's amazing how tiny he looks there. Whereas you do something like this and they look like pretty good size, you know, it's like a pretty big bird kind of coming right at you. And then you see them all, you know, kind of like that. And they just take on such a tiny appearance. It's kind of neat to me how that works. So yeah, just trying some different stuff with him. This is one of my favorite wide angle shots of that bird. Doing some high key green wing teal. Here's the redneck grebes, shooting through some foreground, trying to get creative. Let's see. Marcus said the phalaropes in Washington are definitely not friendly. Okay, so yeah, I guess they are then. It seemed actually the more remote areas we found them, the more friendly they were. So I'm guessing never seen people or rarely see people because we were like some of the middle of the tundra places, which you'll see coming up, is where I shot the wide angle stuff of them. But yeah, they were pretty good. Again, pretty warm day. It wasn't real cold, but not real warm. And we got to see the breath with no sun too, which was weird. Like I've never seen breath on an overcast day. So that was cool. Like this is all this bird's breath creeping out on that side. You can see it a little bit right there. I mean, it doesn't show out like it would when the sun's hitting it, but it was cool to see. Orange crown warbler, was really good first for me. Getting good shots of a black bear was first for me. That was really cool. This poor dude had recently been in a fight. His poor ear was a little torn up, side of his face a little bloodied, but dude, what a bruiser. This thing was massive. I've not seen a lot of black bears, but you could just tell by the way he was walking. He was a big boy. And Jamin can confirm that he was one of the bigger ones he's seen. So that was really cool. There you go. He's coming right towards us there. So cool seeing semi-palm plovers on breeding territory. I usually see them on the beach as they're migrating through, so very different experience. But a lot of fun seeing that. Some more yellow crowned. Same thing with yellow legs. Yellow legs perched atop a spruce tree. Like, come on. So I see them on the beach and in the marsh. Like that's actually not on the beach. I see them in the marsh here. It's so different. It's so neat seeing that other side of them. This is a western wood pewee, which is cool. I've only ever seen and photographed eastern. And actually, I don't have any good photos of eastern wood pewee, so I now have good photos of western wood pewees and not the ones that are where I live. So kind of weird how that worked out. But Swainson's thrush, as always, just trying to play with fun compositions, shooting through some foreground stuff and that sort of thing. Yellow warbler, kind of cool to photograph them up there. You know, one of in fact, I think the most widespread warbler in North America. So neat that I'm photographing them up there as well as at home, you know. Absolutely adorable. This one day, the day was pretty much over. It was a long day. We were all exhausted, me, Jamin, and Cameron. And Jamin was driving. He's driving us back. He's like, we kind of decided we're heading out of this park that we're in. And we round this bend, there's a few cars pulled over, and then boom, right there, mom and two cubs, and we were all ecstatic, right in the dandelions. I missed the shot where this one was standing up. I completely blew focus on it thanks to Z6. I think I just messed up. But thankfully I caught one right as he was coming back down. So I did get one shot of him. And there you can see the two and the mom and this one. And this shot coming up, you'll see. Oh, wait. Where is it? Oh, I guess I didn't include it here. There's one where I have her like over top of him, but she's in focus, not the cub. And I wished I had like focused on him and used her as foreground framing. But it's the kind of thing where it's like hindsight, you know, in the moment, I didn't think of that. And I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, oh, you idiot. That seems so obvious, you know? But anyway, super adorable. My first time seeing cubs. So that was cool. Pacific Loon, I actually got to get in the water with these birds in the dry suit. Was shooting with the housing for this one. These are actually lily pads in the foreground. So you have an idea how low I was there. I think, in fact, for a lot of these, my lens was partially under the water. Let's see. I'm just looking at the comments. Sorry, guys. Chris is saying there's that Swainson's thrush you were talking about. So jealous of that. Unfortunately, they had no luck with one he was following. Oh, bummer. Yeah, that Swainson's thrush we had was really good. And I think I have more coming up, but I'm not sure. I forget. Anyway, back to these pack loons. They're on a lake with some houses around, so I guess they're somewhat acclimated to people because very friendly birds, pretty much showing no fear. And me and Jamin were in the water, which was so cool. And at one point, I was actually out pretty far in the water. The birds had moved away. I thought they were away, and then all of a sudden they surfaced right next to me. I'm talking like 4 feet away. And then they dove again. And I'm not going to lie, a little intimidating when they dove because look at that bill, right? And I'm in a dry suit. I'm like, please don't puncture a hole in my dry suit. But then they surfaced again, like 3 or 4 feet away. 3 feet's probably an exaggeration. It was probably like 4 to 5 feet away. And I was just sitting out in the water. I was legit swimming with a pair of Pacific loons. Like, how cool is that? It was absolutely incredible. It really was. I was just floating around. I took a few shots. I think I took, let's see, let me switch this for you guys. Let me see if I can find that moment. Here we go. This, I think, yeah, here is when they were swimming right towards me. So I took these shots and then they came inside of minimum focus. Like I couldn't focus on the bird anymore because they came too close. So then I just stopped. And then it's just, yeah, I'm just sitting there and I'm just floating like calmly. And these birds are just swimming around super calm, showing no signs of stress. More curiosity than anything. And in fact, the entire morning, the other guys were commenting on how wherever I went, it seemed like these birds were following me. So I don't know what it was, the look of me in the dry suit or what. But they were more curious than anything else. Such an amazing thing. And then we were chatting. We're like, how many people do you ever think have like swam with Pacific loons? It's got to be a pretty low number. And Jamin and Cameron both got photos of me out in the water with the loons swimming around me. So I'm waiting to see those. I'm anxiously waiting. I can't wait to see how they came out. But just an incredible experience when you take that camera away sometimes and then you just look, you look in person at these birds and just see them there. And it was so cool. It was just an incredible encounter. So a lot of fun with that and walked away with some good shots of these gorgeous, gorgeous birds as well. My first time getting a good shot of boreal chickadee, which was nice. White crowned sparrow. Get them here occasionally, but never any good photos, especially not in really cool spruce like that. Hilarious to me. Everybody up there, Jamin and the locals, super excited for this red-winged blackbird. Let me go back here. This red-winged blackbird that was there. And to me, locally, they're so common. It was just like, really, who cares? Like, what's the big deal? But on the flip side, last year when I went up for the first time, I remember seeing a magpie for the first time. And I was just saying to Jamie, like, oh my gosh, look at that, a magpie. He's like, who cares? It was just like no big deal. And yeah, it's funny how your region and what's common in your area and what's uncommon in your area really affects your perspective on how cool and how special a bird is. And yeah, for this bird, those locals, this was like an amazing bird. They were seeking this out. Meanwhile, it's in with all these Arctic terns, right? And I'm going berserk over these Arctic terns. I've never seen one in my life. Loving to photograph these. And the locals are chasing a red-winged blackbird. So complete opposite directions of what we're after, but hilarious how that worked out. It was really fun. So anyway, Arctic terns, gorgeous terns, very similar to our common enforcers, but a little bit longer tail, just a little bit more elegant, deep red on the bill and the feet. And yeah, they were having some fun flying there. And yeah, there were a few bugs up there. Yeah, exactly. See, Tobias is just like, yeah, red-winged blackbird, I'll settle for that. Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. Like, I only photographed this one because I actually got that like cool landing shot, which was kind of neat. Other than that, I never even pointed my camera at it. And it was also, this one was like a juvenile. It wasn't even full breeding colors, so it wasn't even like a great looking bird. Thankfully, there was two of them there, and the other one was really good looking for everybody. So they were happy to get that. But yeah, just a bird that I would normally overlook. Really cool with what these guys were coming in with. I don't know if you can see, but grass shrimp, which was pretty cool. These Arctic terns were coming back with grass shrimp. Let's see, I got them with grass shrimp, some eel-like creature, or I'm sorry, like worm-like creature. And what else did I have? Oh, dragonfly nymphs. They were catching a lot of them, which is pretty cool. Here's the little like worm kind of thing. And then you'll see later. Oh, and fish, of course. They were catching fish as well. But at some point you'll see one. I'll have a portrait of one later with a dragonfly nymph. Yeah, again, getting to see one up on like kind of the flats up there, really different habitat, and the railroad tracks, definitely different habitat. This guy, it was right along the railroad tracks that they nest, and so every once in a while they end up perched up there, which is pretty cool. So a little bit more with the Arctic terns. My first American three-toed woodpecker, never seen one, never photographed one, so that was really cool. And check out that, look at that texture. And then this one, just incredible, just got him on such a good tree. Which is really cool. And then another lifer, Townsend's warbler. So not expecting this. It was not even on my radar to photograph. And yeah, just absolutely thrilled to get to photograph one. And you'll see later things get a little bit better with these species. They were tough to begin with, but we managed. This was a good shot. I would have been happy with this. If this was the only shot I got, I would have totally been happy with that. Hermit thrush, I get them as well, but again, vastly different habitat, really unique look there. Wilson snipe, same thing. We get them here, but very rare. No, I wouldn't say rare, but more rare than up there. They're kind of all over up there, which is cool. And I don't think they breed here at all. So, oh yeah, and then this was the same day. We got the Townsends there. So again, I got a couple of good Townsend shots on my first day with that species. Golden crown kinglet, another orange crown warbler. I really like these. Super dramatic side light coming in on the spruce tree. Check out that perch. It's a massive, massive stump. The tree swallow looks like minuscule on it, but love the perch. Friendly birds up on the railing, just trying to do something interesting with that. And yeah, elegant terns. Elegant. Tobias had just said he thinks they're one of the most elegant terns, so that's what made me say elegant. But yes, I agree. They are very elegant, especially in flight like this, with those wings and everything like that. All right, let's see. More Arctic terns, and then redneck phalarope right there. Got one perched out on this log. Did some fun stuff with him. Just got some low standard portraits. Was really cool. Ended that day with some backlit semi-palm plovers at sunset. Next day, we went up to some really cool alpine habitat. Got to shoot some stuff with these mountains in the background. Golden crown sparrow. I got my first one with Jamin last year in September up there, but non-breeding plumage. So this was the first time getting to see them in breeding plumage, which was cool. And my first time getting good shots of pika. And you'll see the pika get better. But yeah, beautiful golden crown sparrow. Really, really pretty bird. Loved the habitat. Was so gorgeous for them. American pipit. Again, I only had documentary shots prior to this outing, and then was able to get a ton of great shots. Here's one of my favorites. He's kind of ruffling his feathers there, which was a lot of fun. Got my lifer golden eagle. Wished it wasn't so full sun. I think I would have preferred more ominous, cloudy, overcast skies, but this one's kind of cool. It's just showing the terrain that they live in there. But definitely, yeah, certainly not my favorite shot, but happy to get it. Certainly cool to see. Marmot, that was my first lifer for this species as well. So had not seen any of them before. The hoary marmot, which is really cool. Such a funky looking dude. Chubby boy too. He was fun. Gotta love those teeth. Yeah, American pipit, and on watermelon snow, which is a red algae that grows on the snow, which is pretty damn cool. Kind of taints the snow, this beautiful color. So that was really cool to see. When I first saw it, I was questioning myself. I'm like, hey guys, are you seeing like pink, red on that snow? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I thought I was losing my shit with my eyes going crazy. There's these beautiful magpies, my favorite. And yeah, thanks, Tobias, about the golden crown with the mountains in the background. So I tried to do the same thing with this. This is one of my favorite shots here of the magpie, because I was able to anticipate where this bird was heading, run into position, and then line it up and get the mountains in the background, kind of show off that habitat, which is really cool. Started doing some dramatic backlit stuff with the pipit, and then did the same thing with the pica. Really like how this shot came out. Just a nice dramatic spotlight right on the little pica there. And then does it get any cuter? You know, these things are adorable to begin with, but with a mouthful like that, like, check that out. Come on. That's pretty damn cool. Loved it. Loved that he came up with this mouthful of grass and then just chewed it right up there in front of us. Beautiful soft light at that point. And then, yeah, he grabbed another little bit. But look at that. I mean, just adorable. Look at that pose up on that super textured rock like that. Yeah, just really, really cool. Tobias, no, I do not know what range that was. I don't know the names of much of anything up there. I'm along for the ride, dude. Yeah, we'll have to reach out to Jamin to know. I'm sure he probably knows, but yeah, more golden crown. Just got a little bit more portrait action on them. And then we wrapped up in that alpine habitat and then went down. Got some more snipe. These were finally got some good portraits of the Wilson snipe. That was my first time getting them, which was cool. And then that wrapped up the day. Spent the next day just kind of relaxing back at Jamin's house. Got Stellar's Jay at his house. This was like right in his backyard right there, which was really cool. So tried to shoot these guys creatively, which was fun. And then it was off to the tundra to camp for 3 days up there. Thanks so much, Cynthia. Thanks so much, Lynette. Some great comments coming in. Appreciate it, everybody. Yeah, look at this scenery. Like, just incredible up there. Absolutely incredible. This is a stitch shot, so watch. You'll see when I zoom in on this. Got plenty of detail here. You can actually like see, you know, tons of detail, and then zoom out, and that's the whole image. So love doing those stitch shots. I'm not a landscape shooter, but when you're up there, how can you not? How can you not shoot these landscapes? I mean, look at that. It's just ridiculously beautiful up there. So camped out. We tent camped out on the tundra. It's so cool. You just find a little pull off. There's little pull off areas randomly. You just pull off and stop there. Usually there's no, in fact, where we stopped there, not a single person there. Wake up the next morning to light like this and then start messing with the birds. You know, Wilson's warbler. That's the word I'm looking for. Jeez. I have crappy documentary photos of one in Jersey, but finally got some good shots of them. Redneck phalarope, again, starting to play with 70 to 200 on these guys, trying to show off some of that habitat in the background. Shot these at 2.8, make a real shallow depth of field. So had some fun with them. That was really cool. Long-tailed duck and breeding plumage definitely was one that was on my checklist. Obviously, I photographed them countless times in Jersey, but seeing them in the ninja mode was really cool. And then getting this dude flying in right at us was really cool. There's my edit on that one. Yeah, and he's like calling out there. And then, yeah, just pretty cool coloration seeing them like that, which is really cool. Arctic warbler, unbelievably tough. Top 3 most difficult species of warbler I've ever had to photograph in my life. Probably top 2. It's between that and Nashville. Nashville were a nightmare for me when I photographed them up in Maine. These guys were right up there with that. So, but managed to get a few good shots of these guys. Subtle, not real colorful, right? But pretty in its own way. Almost a flycatcher appearance, you know? But it makes sense. They're not kind of connected with the warblers that we have here. So definitely a different type of warbler species up there, which was really cool. So some more Wilsons, had a lot of fun with them. They're super cute with that black cap. Yeah, getting them out on the willows like that is really cool. Just really neat habitat, trying to show off the mountains in the background. That's one of the things I kept trying to do when I was up in the tundra like that, right? You got these unbelievable views, just vast open landscapes, mountain ranges in the background, stuff like that. So, ideally great, get a nice portrait like this, but I also really wanted to, every chance I could, I wanted to show off that habitat, like where we were. And you'll see as I progress, some of these warbler photos start to show off. Like you can see a little bit of hill in the background there, Common redpoll was really cool to photograph them. I had 0 good shots of them prior to going to this trip. Like look at this habitat. Like that's what you want to see in the background, right? So we found a breeding pair of horned grebe. Incredible. You're going to see a ton of photos of these birds because we had one heck of a time with them. We actually photographed them on multiple occasions, but yeah, just beautiful, beautiful birds. My first time getting to see them in full breeding plumage. And so cool to get so much of an experience with them. Soft light, beautiful golden light. I got everything. Look at that giant mosquito hanging out right in front of them there. Pretty cool. But look at those eyes. Come on. Like just gorgeous. Beautiful sunrises and sunsets. Just incredible. Another redpoll getting a little dramatic there. Here we go. Trying to show off the habitat with American golden plover, which was really cool. Definitely that was my goal, right? It was trying to show off those mountains in the background, and try and keep it scenic, show off some of that habitat, was definitely what I was trying to do. So, Arctic ground squirrel, doing a lookout up there. Getting this guy was good. Blanking on the name right now. This was a lifer. Oh no. Saw my first one last year in September. Lapland longspur. There we go. But non-breeding plumage. So super excited to finally get them in breeding plumage. I mean, just a gorgeous bird, really, really beautiful species. Love those colors. Another American golden right there. Got a few shots of him. Another longtail coming in. Get ready for the splashdown. Look at that. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love these guys. Thanks so much for the comment, Susan. She said these photos look awesome on the big screen TV. Nice. You're watching me on the big screen. Oh, here we go. How about this then, right? We'll give you... Sorry. More longtails here. Didn't get the best light. Like I would have loved to have photographed them in golden light. Never got that opportunity, but it worked. Willow ptarmigan, my first time ever seeing them. Such cool, unique, goofy, weird birds, just beautiful, really beautiful birds. So this was one of these days we struggled with sun out in the tundra. It was sunny the majority of the time. And got lucky with some cloud cover right when we found this bird, So had to wait for it to happen. Like it was sunny. We saw the clouds coming, just hung out with the bird. Then he came out with the clouds and then the sun hit again and that was it. Session was over. So it worked out. You can see here the sun's starting to pop again a little bit. But yeah, got really lucky there. Back to some more warblers. Same thing with these caribou. Never seen caribou in my life. This was the first time I've seen one. And we're getting in the car. Jamin calls out. He's like, caribou, calf. They're running across the road. I still had my camera out. I just start shooting it. I got some crappy documentary shots of them running across. But then they go way up the hillside and we're watching them. And it's full sun. And I'm like, this light sucks. What are we going to do? And then I see them go up towards the snowbank. And I'm like, I think I even said out loud, like, parallel. What I meant was like turn and go like parallel to us. And they did. And like, boom, I just dropped some exposure comp in there. I think, I did -1 stop exposure comp, went for the silhouette and just tried to get the, the cow and the calf with the silhouette of them going across this mountain snow up at the top. And thanks to Tobias, I shared this in a group chat. He gave me the suggestion on a little bit less of the sky. I had a little bit taller crop and I agree. I like this more pano crop. So great to get some feedback from others sometimes, because I think that helped out the shot in the end. So. Yeah, Harish just said it's time to go to Alaska. That'll be great. Here we go. So Arctic warbler showing off the Arctic habitat in the background. I got him posed like that and then got him singing like that. But this was one of those ones where really making conscious decisions to try and show it off, right? So dropping all the way down to f16 so I can get that mountain in focus in the background so you can see what it is. Because if I shot it wide open, which, I was on the 500. If I shot it at f4, which is how I shoot 99.9% of my bird photography, it would be so blurred back there. It would be really hard to tell what it is, but check it out. Even at f16, it's so far away that it's still pretty blurred back there, It's not like it's all tack sharp detail and distracting from the bird or anything like that. So, these kinds of scenes, once I started realizing like I can start stopping down, and I did that with the golden plover earlier, and try and show off that habitat where they belong. How much longer is golden hour up there than in Jersey? Tobias asks. Tobias, I would say not any longer. No humidity up there means that light gets strong real fast. So, you get shootable light longer, but like true golden hour, still pretty quick. It didn't seem to last long. And the other problem is hard to find true golden hour because of all the mountain ranges around. There's always hills blocking it. So it's really difficult to find a place where the sun gets that low in the sky and it's not being cut off by a mountain, So, and those mountains are massive. So even when they're really far away, you're losing probably a half hour to an hour and a half of light when the sun dips behind them, There was countless times where the entire area we were in was in shade on a completely clear day, and it was still an hour and a half to go before sunset, before actual sunset time. So yeah, I would say there's probably very specific places you could go where you could get that extended golden hour, but every place we were in a lot of different places up in that tundra habitat. Each morning and evening, we kind of moved around a lot. I never experienced sun getting near the horizon. Like it just didn't happen, because of those mountain ranges. Says Phoebe, Jamin took me right to this bird. Again, another lifer, and just tons, super cooperative bird, very friendly. Got tons of really fun shots of this species. Was able to shoot it a bunch of different ways, which was really cool. And then spent some more time with blackpoll warbler, really getting to see them. Here's another Arctic with sun on the bird, stormy clouds in the background is always kind of fun. Blackpoll and spruce, I wanted that shot badly. This is probably one of my favorites. So that was really cool. There's the edit on that. Getting yellow warbler in the spruce was really cool. And then I think this was the morning with the horned grebes. We woke up at sunrise, before sunrise, which meant I think we woke up at 3 a.m. To be where we wanted to be on time, which was only 15 minutes down the road. So sunrise, I think, was 3:30, 4 a.m. So yeah, we had to get up around 3 to be there on time. So I think, let's see what time I took the first shot. Oops, wrong section. Let's see. Yeah, this was taken at 3:26 a.m. So yep, we were up at 3 a.m. 3:30 a.m. and you're shooting like this. So you'll see when the light starts to actually hit here, right? So 3:30 is when we first started shooting these birds. Beautiful foggy. All right, now look, the sun's just starting to hit up there at 4:12, right? So that's already 45 minutes after when we started, and the sun's just hitting up there. Let's see when I actually get sun down on the birds. Redneck phalarope up there, just beautiful. Again, shooting them. This is 70 millimeter on a 70 to 200. So shooting them wider. Here's 70 millimeter again. But yeah, just getting to show off some nice scenery in there is a lot of fun. The fog made such a beautiful mood that morning with these horned grebes, and these horned grebes and the phalaropes all in the same lake. That's the other great thing, right? So I think this looks like, it's not quite sun hitting them yet. You can see the sun's just starting to cut through up there. Now it's hitting the background there. There we go. Finally sun on the bird. And let's see, that was at 5:10 a.m. So 3:30. So yeah, an hour and hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes after sunrise is when you got the first little bit of light hitting the birds. Now you can see it's really good quality light. Not trying to say it's bad or anything, but that's what happened up there. The mountains and hills block the stuff. And so you're not the first light you're getting on your birds half the time, unless you're up on the top of something really high, is going to be, a bit later in the morning, So, Oh, thanks, Emma. Yeah, I love that the wide angle redneck phalarope. Yeah, they're like one of my favorites. I just want to hop back to that real quick. I had this guy who was just sitting there and then he took off. Oh, by the way, beaver swimming around the background. That's what that is right there. So bonus, two species in one shot kind of thing right there, which was cool. But yeah, here, let me get my face off of here again so you guys can see the photos in all their glory. Yeah, when he took off like that, gave me that little dance that they do across the water. Oh, I was so thrilled. So, yeah, I definitely shot some wide angle stuff as often as I could. But then obviously mixing it up with the 500 millimeter as well. Just some beautiful colors up there. There's another 70 millimeter shot. And then mixing in the 500 millimeter stuff as well. This dude coming right in at us. Beautiful light. Now, I mean, look, this is like still good quality light. And this is, let's see, this was, 513, so, getting on, hour and 45 minutes after sunrise. Or actually, I think sunrise was actually at like 3, not 3:30. Or maybe it was 3:30. I don't remember. Whatever. But yeah, just these horn grebes are something else. Marcus, that's a great one. When does your 500-page coffee table book come out? Yeah, I know. Exactly. Like, how do you narrow this stuff down? See, this is what I was talking about, right? Like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to share all of these online, even if I shared one every day, right? Just from this Alaska trip, it would be like a photo every day, right? If I really want to share all this stuff. And this isn't even like everything that I shot, this is just all that I've set aside as like the best, like the best. I have other solid stuff that, I just, I'm keeping for myself, but, will probably never get shared out. But yeah, this is all the good stuff. And so there's just so much, which is why I wanted to do this video and just kind of share this stuff. So yeah, I appreciate everybody kind of hopping on and hanging out with me here. And yeah, still got a good number of people here hanging out. So wow, I guess you guys like the photos. So thank you. I appreciate that. Here's where I went, 2470. I shot that at 70 millimeter. All right. So wrapped up with the horn grebes and the phalaropes, literally walked across the street to another pond, and then Barrow's goldeneye and more phalarope. So shot these guys. So this is backlit now, shooting into the sun. So you can see the sun's still pretty low, right? It's like right there. And this is 5:45. So, 2.5 hours, give or take, after sunrise, and the sun's still there. So it definitely gets up slower, I should say, than like here in Jersey. 2 hours after sunrise, that sun is like way out of the frame. Like that's probably like an hour height around Jersey kind of thing. So it's extended, but that light's strong, And again, like I said, the no humidity thing means that it's strong light when there's no clouds in the sky. Anyway, just again, trying to shoot more scenically. 70 to 200 here, shooting at 2.8. I was half my body was laying in the water, didn't care, just trying to get that super low perspective, having fun with this. And then redneck phalarope came in on that side, so shot them with the 70 to 200, a little bit more wide perspective. Dude, it was hilarious. It was like so frustrating. Like I got to show you guys this. Laying on a sloped bank, right? So the bank is sloped down. I'm laying down, trying to get low perspective. I got two cameras. I got my, what did I have? I think D4S. Yeah, D4S with the 500 millimeter on it. And then or maybe the Z was, whatever. I had one camera with the 500 millimeter on it, the other with the 70 to 200 on it. And then I'm like, when I was shooting the grebes, I also had the 2470 mixed in there. So sometimes I'm switching lenses, switching cameras. You're setting cameras down. Things are like, if you don't set it down right, it starts trying to roll into the water. You're uncomfortable. You're bent weird, trying to shoot low perspective. I mean, and it's all happening so fast, and the birds are swimming by. Here comes the grebe. Here comes the phalarope. And it's just like, that whole thing was kind of a blur, but like an absolute blast. Like at the same time, it's like, I remember it as a blur. But then also there's these moments where like I remember specifically like this. I remember specifically like looking through the lens and then taking my eye out and seeing and watching this. Oh wait, I'm not even showing you the photo. Sorry. I remember this moment like in hyper detail, So in the blur and chaos of switching lenses and cameras and being uncomfortable and shooting and the light changing and settings and all the craziness, right? And it felt like when it was done, you were just like I could finally take a breath, right? But in through all of that, there were these moments like this where I remember like I remember this bird swimming right at me, and then it came inside too close to focus, and then I just took my eye out and just like sat there and just like watched the bird swimming like, 10 feet in front of me. And just like, this is incredible, and you would just, there was moments of calmness and almost serenity of just taking in that moment, mixed in with the mayhem of shooting all of this and trying to get all that variety and capture it all in there, right? Because it's like, oh, look at this moment right here. It's like close. He's coming right in. But then there's like, but then look at this, like let me throw a wide on and then show, look at this scene and the colors back there. And let me show the hillside in the background with the snow on it and the sun just hitting that and the fog. So let me go wide. And then, then something comes in crazy close and you're like, oh, all right, let me throw the 2470 on and then shoot this fallow rope coming in. It's just like, it was crazy fun. That's what it was. It was a lot of fun in the end. So, anyway, we're shooting these fallow rope all backlit like this. And then I feel bad. We were both kind of wrapped up, right? And we're walking back to the car. And then I see this fallow rope swim towards another one. They start kind of like getting towards each other. So Jamin was ahead of me. And so I just turned around real quick just to watch for a second. And they started kind of going towards each other. Like they started swimming in towards each other. And I was like, what's going to happen here? Dropped to the ground real quick, put my lens on this guy, and then boom, they started mating out in the water. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like incredible. Like I'm shooting mating fallow rope. Look at this. Like backlit, cool bokeh, really cool light. And then I got that whole, I got a few images of that happening. So it's just like, what a just dumb luck moment that I didn't turn my back on it long enough, or I didn't walk away 30 seconds earlier, you know what I mean? And I get back to the car, I'm like, dude, look what I just got. And he's like, oh, are you kidding? So I felt bad that he just missed that, but like that's how it goes, I don't feel so bad because for the first 2.5 days up there, he was lighting up those Arctic warblers and I was striking out on them. So I was owed a little something, I guess. Then we hit this spot for, we got these red-breasted mergansers. It's a shame because this guy wasn't great looking. He's got a little bit of brown in the face, but still pretty good looking. And my first time getting like good, light, low angle shots of this guy. Tried to get some dramatic stuff with it. Then Harlequins, low angle, flying right at you, landing. Look at that, coming right at you. Beautiful light. Like this is like nothing I will ever get in New Jersey. So, so cool to shoot them on water level on flat calm water. Like that doesn't exist here where I shoot them, it just does not happen. So that was a lot of fun getting to see these guys, just shooting portraits of them and then getting takeoff shots like that was really cool. A few more scenic shots. And then, we hit the Say's Phoebe again. This was the next day. This was in the area where we would go for lunch every day. So we would just kind of hit this bird multiple times. And I was able to get these wide angle shots of it. Super pumped about this. Got the reflection and everything right there. Some more Arctic warblers. Some more blackpoll. Got a blackpoll with a little bit of scenery back there. The mountain was kind of hidden, so you didn't get to see it fully. But blackpoll and spruce, definitely something I like. Lesser yellowlegs. And then this happened. Incredible storm rolling in. And then check it out. Like if you zoom in down here, look, it like ended right by this huge snow-capped mountain back there, which was pretty cool. So we got like this full double rainbow scene, just incredible. Jamin drove like crazy, like a maniac down this dirt road to bring us out to this open area so we could see it and shoot it. It was so much fun. Oh wait, I think I just realized my face was in the way when I zoomed in down here, but there you go. You can see that snow-capped mountain down there. Was really, really cool. Just a lot of fun seeing this. I've never seen a rainbow so intense. Just the colors were insane. And that's that mountain that the rainbow was going down to, but it was gone by the time I got the tighter shot. So did some fun landscape stuff. Then last day of shooting, went out for Townsend's again, and then we hit the mother lode. We found this Townsend's that was the most cooperative bird. Just looking at comments real quick. Emma said that the head on grebe is so cool. Crazy how much luck and timing really plays into photography. Yeah, no doubt. Tobias asked me to move my head, which I did. So you can see that photo. All right. So let me get my head out of here again just to show you the rest of it. So anyway, this is all one individual Townsend's warbler. Shot a ton of variety. We spent a few hours with this bird on and off because we We had to go back. Such a bummer. Jamin had some gear issues, had to get a different lens. So we walked back down to the car for that, came back and did some more. Then I decided I wanted to try wide angle after a certain point, went back down to the car to get that and came back for more. So it was a lot of, work with the bird a little bit, photograph it, just spend some time with it, walk away from it for a while and then come back. But yeah, just such a ton of variety. Jamin found this set, incredible set that he found, just gorgeous. Definitely one of the best. And then this is my favorite Townsend shot I got. Got to show off this wide angle with the mountains, snowy mountains in the background back there. Definitely one of my top 5 shots of the trip right there, just because of how hard it is, how different, hopefully unique it is. I don't think I've ever seen any Townsend Warbler shots like this. So I was really, really pumped to get that one. And then, we just shot a few more telephoto shots of it as well. So real quick, I just want to show you, this is one individual bird in a few hours. Look at the variety you get. You get them on spruce, on crazy lichens and moss, singing, dark background, wide angle, just all kinds of fun stuff. And I have a lot more of this bird that I didn't even set aside in here. So yeah, just a really amazing bird. And then we wrapped up the trip with some more Arctic terns. So this was the end of the Arctic terns right there. It was funny. They kept landing on this signpost that was right here when we went there the first day. So that day before we left, we went and found Jamin found this piece of driftwood and we shoved it. It fit in right in the top of this signpost because we're like, well, the birds like to land here, so let's give them something to land on that we can photograph instead of this signpost. And then this was 4 days later when we came back, and sure enough, they were all over it and using it like crazy. So all the locals are going to have these portraits as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of photographs of this particular perch with Arctic terns coming out of the Anchorage area in the near future. But here's the difference, right? F4, or I'm sorry, 7200, F28, and then F9. So this is where you can really show off that background, right? It still works separation wise, but you can show off that background a little bit more versus just having it totally blurred back there. So just some fun stuff with that. Here they are coming in with the fish. There's the dragonfly larva and then eating the fish. This one actually had the dragonfly larva that it was eating right there. Tried to use the foreground bird to frame the background bird there. So just trying to think a little bit on my feet with that one. And then just some high key flying overhead stuff to kind of wrap it up. So that's it, guys. There we went through, give or take 1,300 photos there. So, I think that is it, everyone. So let's see. I'll look over here real quick and see if there's any more questions or comments before I kind of wrap up the live show here, guys. That was, we did over 2 hours, huh? 3:30, 4:30, 5:30. Yeah, nice. Yeah, guys, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, any more comments, and then if not, I will wrap it up. So thank you so much for everybody that joined live. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a lot of the stuff that I didn't get to, I never will get to share any other way, so I really appreciate that. Let's see. Lynette asks, did Jamin have an opportunity to get any lifers on this epic adventure you were on besides the Red Wing? I don't know that the Red Wing was a lifer for him. I think it was just a bird that they rarely see up there. And no, I don't believe anything was a lifer for him. He definitely did improve on some photos of species that he's photographed before. I know he got better Say's Phoebe. The horned grebe, I remember him saying he'd never gotten that good. I don't think he said he's gotten the harlequins on the flat water like that, which was cool. And the Townsend's warbler, I know he definitely said he improved upon his shots with that, which stand to reason. So, yeah, thanks, Chris, for the compliment there. Thank you, everybody, for all the compliments. And so, yeah, I'll just give a quick scroll through all these just like this while I wait for some more questions and comments, and then I'll kind of end the session. So thanks so much, guys. And listen, do not forget, join us tomorrow where you can listen to a lot of other people talk instead of me the entire time, which will be nice. But yeah, I hope you guys can all join us for the Wild Conversation show tomorrow. You can just visit my website or just go to wildconversationshow.com. But yeah, this is the Alaska trip right here. So watch, I think I set aside, let's see, it started right there. So I think just from that trip alone, I set aside like, let's see, 295 photos. I set aside just from that Alaska trip, which was pretty wild. So, Dylan, cheers. Great way to spend a dull Saturday evening. Oh, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate you taking the time to join. It means a lot. Thanks, Lynette, for the compliments as well. Thank you, everybody. All right, guys, looks like no more questions, so that's cool. I think I'll wrap it up right here. Thank you all so very much for joining. Oh, wait, there's a question. For the Arctic terns, did you see any chicks? The last day we were there, I think there were a couple of chicks that one of the pair were feeding, yes. Right in front of us, actually, too, but it was just a horrible spot to photograph them, and light wasn't great, so I don't even know if I got any shots of it at all. But they were just starting. I think they were just starting to hatch when that happened. Although it seemed like, I think further out in the colony there were some more hatched, because there were some birds dropping in with food in their beak and then leaving without it. So they must have been feeding the young in there for a while. So and Federico asks, are you leaving these 2 hours online? Yes, I will. This was all recorded. It's going to be online. So if you want to watch the whole thing again, you certainly can if you missed some of it. So, or anything you want to revisit. So yeah, all that stuff will be available. All right, guys, I think that's it. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to spend some time with me on this Saturday and let me share my passion, my love of these birds and photography with you all. So thanks again. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, on the next show.